Howick, and then the Fox, third and fourth, so whoever loses is over, and then Glenora, three cheers, that's who we go straight to the final.
I'll be back in a second.
Thanks very much. Okay, that's better. We're right to go there. Still getting a bit of mic noise, it seems, from White Uggy's mic on the sideline. In his pocket, I think it is. And a warm welcome to you. Thanks very much for tuning in to what should be a fantastic game here this afternoon. It's Mount Smart Stadium number 2 in Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland, New Zealand, and it is the minor final here. The winner will get a chance to ply their trade and hopefully make their way through to the final. For the loser, it's the end of 2018's season. So it's the Howick Hornets up against the Northcote Tigers. And with us today, Corey Ross. So Corey's been calling a lot of the action through the year, and these two teams very evenly matched as we go into this encounter here at Mount Smart. What are you expecting today, Corey?
Yeah, you're right. Very evenly matched through the regular season, Dale. Northcote finishing third with 13 wins and Howick fourth with 12 wins. They've had some good clashes as well, 20-18 the last time they played in favour of Howick. So look, it'll be a really evenly contested game. I think two big forward packs as well, a few familiar names there, the likes of Tony Tuia, who's going to come up against some of the real young stars of our game, Dale, in the shape of Taylor Daniels, Trent Tromkel. So it's going to be a good game, good conditions, and we should see the ball thrown around a bit as well.
Hats off before we start to both coaches, Sean Clark at the helm for the Howick Hornets, and of course Jeff Morton, who's been a real stalwart of the Northcote Tigers club for many years, and he's stayed very solid, although they've been in some trying circumstances over the last few seasons. This is your refereeing and officials. Anthony Elliott will be in control of the action today. He'll be assisted sideline by Chris McMillan and also Nathan Barker-Pringle. But this promises to be a really close, hard-fought encounter, as it should be too in finals football. Congratulations to both of these proud teams, one from East Auckland, one from the Shore, and they have wonderful reputations in recent seasons for their efforts here in the Fox Memorial Championship, the pinnacle of Auckland Club Rugby League. You mentioned Tony Tuia. I'm looking forward to seeing him go head-to-head with big Dylan Moses, of course, who returns to the Northcote Tigers after a stint away at Point Chev, and now is able to come back and join this young group who have done very well to find themselves in finals footy, as Corey mentioned, for the first time since early 2000s. Waka Watterson, the top try scorer in the competition, Timothy Cook and Tui Gamala, Donnelly Connick and Jordan Tiaho. Eddie Fingota is number 8 with Eko Malu and Trent Schomkel. Daniels will captain the squad today with Dylan Moses and Xavier Rice, and the bench by Water Tafutu, Tamarua, and also Josiah Afu. We're about to get underway here in the minor final for the Fox Memorial Championship. The day's dawned bright and clear at times, but this is Auckland, and so we can expect a change of weather as we rip through the Howick squad just prior to kick-off. Edwards, that's him in shot, very talented at the back. Kevin Leava'a, Fuimano and Tusa. Prendergast will team up with Drew Radich in the halves today, and a very imposing forward pack. Tuia, Friend, Pulipaki and Wilson, Woodabo and Jonah Doe, Armiger, Powder, Bishop and Tafili. Thanks very much for tuning in to the Auckland Rugby League website. Proud to have brought you live streamed action of the Fox right through 2018. We're underway with the minor semi-final here. Who will get a chance to go through next week and play the loser of this afternoon's encounter between the Glenora Bears and, of course, the Point Chevalier Pirates. Our top 4 on display here at Mount Smart number 2 today. And it's Howick who have the first dibs with the football, and it's Tony Tuia's first touch, and of course one of the real characters of the Auckland club scene.
He absolutely is, yeah. Of course, been around a long time now. Came through with Mount Albert originally. Still playing really good footy. He's also put through a couple of 80-minute showings this year, Tony Tuia, so still as damaging as ever, as we see there with another good carry forward. So interesting to see Tony Tuia in action today, along with Pulipaki in the starting front row for Howick.
They had a little flat period mid-season, but their form in recent weeks has been very good. As the ball comes to the back, and Cole Waka now for the Tigers And what a remarkable season it has been for Northcote too, languishing at the foot of the table in recent years. But under Jeff Morton here in 2018, they really have become a force to be reckoned with. They have the ball now, and control of the football, as always, is going to be absolutely vital as Taylor Daniels goes to ground on the 30.
Yeah, Taylor Daniels, the reigning Auckland Player of the Year, represented Auckland this year as well. Had a great season last year. Has looked at times this year like he's probably been carrying injuries, but he'll be a key one for them as well, particularly down there at edge combination with Thomas Connick.
Sharp focus on the defensive work is going to be absolutely paramount as the ball finds its way to the back, and George Edwards, formerly with Papakura, but we perhaps do clubs a disservice when we refer to where they've come. The reality is in Auckland League there's a lot of movement at season's end, and players quite obviously positioning themselves for better opportunities, and also to work under coaches that they think they can learn from. Sean Clark has a long history with Manurewa and also with Papakura, as we see the Big Ten Pulapaki haul forward. Plenty of Tigers defenders to wrap him up midway between the 30 and 40. 20 in from the southern touchline. It's Tuia once again. Shoulder to the wheel, he goes and barges his way forward. To ground just short of the halfway line. His friend looks to the right-hand side. Off the boot now of Prendergast, and it rolls end over end, and the Tigers pretty comfortable to let it go across the dead ball line. The wind very much in favour of the Northcote Tigers here today.
Yeah, and also one to watch out for today, Dale, these short in goals. The Mount Smart Stadium number 2 field is a little shorter than your full-size International Rugby League field, so the kicking game's so important come last tackle, and we have called finals the last couple of weeks and seen that kickers have tended to struggle a little bit come last tackle plays.
So now it's the Northcote Tigers with it through Trent Shomkool. Pick up ball here to Teddy Donnelly. He's come across from rugby, and there are a few guys who have been on the north side decided to join the Tigers too, as Xavier Rice plays it just short of the halfway. A darting little run from Ekomalu, rolling over the top. Tuingamala manages to get the ball away. Play on, says referee Elliott. Down the short side come the Tigers. Tackle made on the big number 12 on the far side of the field. The Tigers, a little slip as you can see. We're midway between the 30 and 40. Short side play once again. And a turnover of possession. The Hornets with it now. They picked up the 1 premiership, and what a celebration it was for them. It's actually further away than I thought. I think maybe 2011, the last time that the Hornets picked up the trophy. Here's Jethro Friend, captaining the Howick squad today. On the 40-metre line, a little bit flat-footed at the moment. It's easy pickings for the Northcote defenders who are up quickly.
Yeah, and it was interesting watching them warm up, Dale. Certainly Northcote, plenty of noise there. They're all very animated. Howick, quite the opposite, very quiet and focused.
There's the first penalty of the afternoon, and it is with Howick. Sideline, we have Wairangi Korpu, Nera Tamihi Kakwe Wairangi. A big wind in behind this Howick team. I don't know what you'd see it at, perhaps 6, maybe even 10. It's a strong wind behind them. A warm welcome to you, Wai. Just a little bit scratchy there by the sound of things. We'll get his microphone up and running. The wind can play havoc on technology as we see Howick now through Nicky Wilson. He's wrapped up by Rice as well as Whangota. So Howick now with the ball. Nice little dummy as well from Drew Radic. He's got some deft touches, Drew. A seasoned campaigner here in the Fox Championship. No more so than this man, Tuia. He's got himself involved early on in the game. He's always got a bit of a smile on his face. Doesn't mind a little bit of niggle in there as well. And here's a barging run. What a finish as well. A surging effort from Troy Pulapaki. And the Howick Hornets draw first blood. They're in to score.
Yeah, and we saw there the brilliant 1-2 punch from Tony Tuia and Troy Pulipaki. Those 2 big starting front rowers. They've been so good this year for the Howick Hornets. Of course, both Mount Wellington boys originally, and just a really good carry forward there from Pulipaki. Goes straight through the line, and Northcote, that's a little concerning for them. Some first up contact, just a little bit off that time.
Let's pay tribute to the setup work, though, from Tony Tuia, and in the end, just a powerhouse run, and there's no stopping him from close to the line. Let's check that sideline microphone with you, Wairangi. So we'll stay with the kicker. That's a good start too. Drew Radich. As you can see, a bit of cloud in the background here at Mount Smart, number 2. Well utilised field nowadays. This, of course, home to Warriors junior grades and with plenty of Auckland Rugby League. Duly converted. It's a good start here for the Hornets, and they lead this one at Mount Smart 2 by 6-0.
And we see another look there at the try. Pulipaki opening the scoring. Only 19 years of age, Troy Pulipaki. He's also in the Warriors system. A really good young player to watch coming through the ranks. And the Howick Hornets, we mentioned some of the talent they lost in the off-season, Dale, but some of the boys that they've brought in and these young talents who are going to serve the club well for a number of years. They've got a nice mix right now of experience and young promising players.
Put a lot of hard work in the Howick Hornets with their junior and schoolboy development. And it's paying dividends for them. Punch above their weight against much more experienced clubs with perhaps more strike power. So Howick drawing first blood and a 6-0 lead. Starting out a dummy half, picking up on Johnny V. He has the ball, maintains it as well. Eko Malu comes across the top to make the tackle. Just outside the 40-metre line, and Howick through Jonathan, making some inroads. Across the top comes Moses. Some pretty good nick too, Dylan. He's been training hard through 2018. Dummy half work here now for the fullback Edwards. Radich decides to use the wind. A bit of a tester at the back here for James Waterson. Good chase by the Hornets as well to wrap the winger up inside the 10.
He's had a good couple of years, James Waterson, and the top try scorer in the competition this year, so he brings that one in nicely. He's a really safe winger, probably not as big as many of the other wingers in the competition, but certainly gets in and does his fair share of the work. You can see Howick just trying to control this one. Good kicking game so far from Drew Radich as well.
Cruz Dupo, I think if I can see the 19 is out there. Chunky individual penalty. And this to the Tigers. Of course, some wonderful names have sported those Tigers colours over the years. Freeman, Hoppe, Gene Ngamu, Jason Lowry. Well, the list goes on. These are more modern day players, but going back in time, they've certainly produced some fabulous entertainers of a rugby league. A proud club based on Auckland's North Shore. A warm welcome to our viewers through the Auckland Rugby League website today and also MaoriTelevision.com. Of course, allowing the imagery now to go globally. And hats off to Corey, Troy Hardy and the small elite team of broadcasters who have streamlined a lot of Fox footy this year. I think you've done a fantastic job of keeping the game front and centre to league fans, both here in Aotearoa and offshore. There's pressure on here from Howick. It's been a very good start for the boys from East Side.
Yeah, very aggressive edge defence early on from the Howick Hornets. Obviously keen to get up there and shut things down, and it is where Northcote do the majority of their damage. They've got quality back rows, obviously in the shape of Moses and Taylor Daniels, so interesting to see early on there. Certainly Howick putting plenty of attention on trying to close down those edges nice and early.
Well, they'll pack the scrum down here, just outside the 30-metre line as we get another look. Number 6, Tommy Connick. You won't miss him, will he? He's got the interesting cut. As we see now, the Hornets again through Anthony Foiwano. He hits a wall of Tigers defenders. As mentioned, one apiece here. The last time these two teams met, it was a very tough and close encounter too, Corey.
Yeah, absolutely. They've sort of gone toe-to-toe for the majority of the year, and the Howick Hornets have done really well. They had a tough run home to try and secure that 4th position, but picked up some big results at a narrow loss mid-year to Point Chevalier, and then obviously got the better of them last week. So they thoroughly deserve to be here.
They fought their way in. Mount Albert Lions missing out for the first time in finals football for a long time. And there'll be some talk at Fowles Park about that, no doubt, in the off-season. We'll sideline Wairangi Kopu is with us today. I think we've got our technical issues seem to. Why? Thanks for your thoughts. What do you make of our first 11 minutes of play?
Yeah, kia ora boys. I found a spot where I have to stand on one leg and hold my arm over my head. But we've finally got the connection down here. Ngā mihi kia kōrua I tēnei wā. Ngā mihi kia koutou katoa. Tēnei o ngā whiringa whānui kei te haere ake in the prestigious competition of the Auckland Rugby League. It's a fantastic day here in Tāmaki Makaurau. And there is a bit of a wind at the backs of the Howick Hornets, which should help them in the first half. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple of long kicks early in this first half. We also saw, though, that the ball is going to hold up a little bit in that wind on the kickoffs. And like Corey mentioned, the end goals are relatively short here, so they're just going to have to look out for that seven tackle set after those sort of short end goal kicks. But you're right. I got the feeling down here on the sideline that there's a lot of excitement around this Northcote Tigers side, knowing that it's been a long time between drinks since they've been in the semi-finals arena. They really want to make a good showing here, and talking to some of the boys, I know they're real eager to kick on to another week. On the other hand, like you said, very composed Howick Hornets side who have been here plenty of times before, and they've already shown straight away that they want to start well in this game to really kick on some momentum for further on.
Thanks very much. Wairangi chiming in with Kōrero from the side. We'll get some interviews as well post-match for us. With it now is Eko Malu, and here's a chance for the Tigers. They haven't been up this end of the field too often, and the fullback having a run for the line, Cole Walker, denied by just a few millimetres of grass here at Mount Smart 2. Down the right side, Eko Mali tries to thread the needle, picked up and scoring nicely too is James Waterston. That's try number 21 for the winger. And a fabulous finisher, but some beautiful quick hands from the Tigers close to the line.
Yeah, Nalu Tuigamala at the heart of that one as well. And Morgan Tamoti Cook chiming in nicely there to assist it. And it's actually the left edge that Northcote tend to favour. That is the edge that Thomas Connick sits down, and he is a super talented player. But this time they get a result down the right edge there. James Waterston, such a prolific finisher, just seems to be one of those guys that knows his way to the try line, even if it is a bit ugly in the build-up as it was there. So nice work from Northcote. That's a good hit back. Sideline
with you too, Wairangi.
Yeah, nice little play down there on the right-hand side. It was well organised, and those boys are going to be on the hunt down that end very early. I know both these wingers, they look like they're up for the game, especially the big, tall, lanky boy is out this side. He's about 6'5". Tia Donnelly, he's a big string bean out here, but he looks like he's got some pace.
Well, the two wingers have had sensational seasons. A little bit of a lucky bounce as well, as Ikomalu went to push it through into the in goal. And what's an ambitious play too, because of the skinny nature of the in goal zone. But it came up trumps for the Northcote Tigers, and that's what we're going to witness here this afternoon. Both these teams really know that this is the last roll of the dice. If they lose here today, their season is over. And look at that conversion from wide out. It was spot on.
And Nalu Tuigamala, his goal kicking has been a real feature this year. He comes from a rugby union background, played for Ponsonby, and was also a North Harbour rep. So he's obviously got the experience there with the goal kicking, and that's been a real plus for Northcote this year. But you mentioned it just before, Dale. I don't think being conservative is going to get you anywhere today. Teams are going to have to chance their arm a little bit and try some different things. So I think Jeff Morton will be happy with that hit back, and Northcote now get back to where they started.
And have we got something to really enjoy here this afternoon? Two teams going hammer and tong at it, leaving nothing on the field. They'll come off exhausted after 80 minutes. 15 minutes gone. It's locked up at 6-all here on MāoriTelevision.com. And, of course, at the Auckland Rugby League website, which has become a real fountain of information about the local footy. Here's Cole Walker with a shuddering tackle as well that jolts his head back as he goes to ground on the 40. A little bit of extra work in there and unnecessary. Tony Tuia is being singled out. So comes into the game with a bit of a reputation as a hard man. This time around, he goes in for a second bite of the cherry. Here are the Tigers now. Can't take it quickly is what we are hearing. Look at bewilderment there. Morgan Timothy Cook. Everything slows down, and now able to get underway again through Taylor Daniels this time. And Daniels is wrapped up on the 20. Great opportunity here for the Tigers to go back to back. They're quickly down into strike zone as Malu sends it through Rice, and now picking up on big Eddie Fingota. Options here for Eko Malu. Punches it quickly out wide. Beautiful play here, and on to Dylan Moses. He's wrapped up just a couple of metres out from the try line. Big chance here for the Tigers. That ball's gone to ground to play on. The skipper for Howick says, well, thanks very much. And Jethro Friend has wrapped up 15 from his own line.
Yeah, they look a little bit rattled down that left edge so far, Northcote, and that is down to, I think, Howick just getting up and really pressuring them. And there's a player down and back play there, Finota down on the ground, it looks like. So plenty of feeling in this one early on, Dale.
Well, that was a bit of a barging effort too. And the big number 4, Anthony Foimwano, gets the stare downs from the Tigers pack. Might get another chance to have a look at that, but Eddie Fingota, as he's been hit, so here he comes, Foimwano. Boom!
Yeah, maybe a bit of an accidental head clash in there, but Finota back up to the feet.
Well, it's a tough game. I don't think there's anything untoward in it. But the Howick Hornets have survived that raid by the Tigers.
See Kevin Locke on screen there running the water today. Has featured a number of times this year for the Northcote Tigers. Played the first half of the year in the other code, rugby union, but back home to his junior club. And really cool for the club as well to see both Dylan Moses and Kevin Locke, two of their finer, I guess, Auckland exports over the last few years, back and playing with the club.
Well, that's what's been needed over the years when they've been languishing. They were struggling to get teams onto the field at times, but a bit of success will breed some interest, won't it, Corey? And so you've got a whole lot of people from the north side realising that the club has too proud a tradition to see it slip back into Sharman Cup territory. They've been close to that in recent seasons, but this year's been a stellar one under coach Jeff Morton. And they find themselves in the top 4 of Auckland Club Rugby League. Johnny Vutenbo. Johnny V. Here's Jethro Friend. Showed great promise as a teenager. And whilst, many would be disappointed not to have seen him kick on perhaps into an NRL career, the reality is he plays footy in the way that it was old school. For your club, proud to fight beside your teammates. He's a wonderful leader, a terrific ambassador for the game as the Howick Hornets get yet another penalty. We're locked up at 6-0 after 6-all, at 18 minutes in.
Yeah, and sort of going toe-to-toe so far in the forward pack, aren't they? And we're seeing a little bit of niggle start to come into it now. So discipline is going to be key, particularly in this back end of the first half. We've seen some instances of penalties where both sides have just made a little extra second effort. So discipline, the name of the game for the next 20 minutes.
We'll settle in for a moment and come across to you soon, Wairangi. Nicky Wilson, this is a good setup. Great field position here for the Hornets as they punch it quickly out to Georgie Edwards. He'll throw the dummy, changes direction, comes back into centre field, tries to link it up with Jonah Toe. He's wrapped up now 5 metres out from the try line. Jethro Friend wants the ball played quickly. He needs it, he's got it. To the right-hand side, here he comes again. It's Pulupaki again. Can he turn? Oh, he's close. Held up. The referee, Elliott, was right there, but Pulupaki made those Tigers work hard to keep him at bay. He'll back it up. A little bit of the momentum subsides here as Howick reset themselves. Sharp focus on their defensive work required now from the Tigers. As Big Tony plays it 5 short of the line. The Hornets threatening with every carry. The ball's punched out quickly. Good D from the Tigers. They're still wrapping up the Hornets on the far side of the field. Jesse Kevin plays the ball. Last play of the set. Here's the crossfield kick off the boot of Radic. Everyone climbs, but not as well as Waterson. He took it in the end goal. And now will be forced to go underneath the crossbar. Fine set from the Howick Hornets.
Yeah, and poor old Northcote might have been a little hard done by on that one. It certainly looked at first sight like James Watterson would have caught that one. Of course, our referees down on the field don't have the luxury of the beautiful images Dale and myself are watching and have to make the call on the spot. So back-to-back sets coming up. This will be a real test for Northcote here. They did well to contain those big bodies of Howick for that set. Can they do it 2 in a row?
Sideline with you, Wairangi, and you know the wind obviously playing an advantage here for Howick. Don't go 10, play on, and it's the Tigers with the football. Sideline with you, Wide.
Yeah. And over that one just went over the 10 boys and just managed to get back into Northcote Tigers' hands. A little bit of a boo-boo there from the official. I think even if Northcote had caught the ball inside the field of the play, he was actually allowed to play on and run out of the end goal. But anyway, they get the ball back off that nice short kick-off, and Howick are doing what Howick does. You just mentioned quickly before about the mind games, as you'll see. Howick boys here might open up.
Liam Prendergast wants to retrieve. He goes into the end goal. Prendergast, but the Tigers survive. That was tooth and nail that time. Cole Walker pushes it dead. Prendergast, his eyes lit up. They were big as saucers. He thought he was in.
Yeah, brilliant effort from Cole Walker to get back and save a certain try there. I don't know what happened at the start of this play. The ball was loose and there was a number of Tigers really just sort of standing around. So whether they thought it was a knock-on, I'm not too sure. But lucky to dodge a ball at that time. And Howick now to get another use of the ball. You just get the feeling they're starting to wrestle control of this game a little bit through the middle of the park. Those big outside backs of Howick as well getting involved quite effectively.
You can see the flags in the background as well, so getting the feeling that wind is really going to play its hand here for both teams. So it's George Edwards collides with his own teammate now. 22 metres out from the try line. His friend loads up for Cruz Tupou. He's through the first line of defence, but he can't get through Waterson, who puts him away 5 metres out from the try line. Here comes Tony. It's big Tony Tuia. He can't get through either. The Tigers wrap him up. 5 metres out from the try line. Short side run. Tupou on the spin. And this time he's put away. He's to ground now. It's a friend looking for an opportunity here. To Radich, and here's the diving effort here from Friend. He's lost the football. It's a knock-on. The Tigers will have it. And the little number 7s do a bit of eyeballing each other. Turnover, Tigers survive.
Yeah, threw a couple of different things at them that time as well. We've seen the prop forwards sort of carry the majority of the work inside the 10 so far in this game, but that time Drew Radich just testing the line with his footwork, and he has scored a number of tries off his footwork this year. He does have that ability to zip through the line as well, so Howick starting to mix things up a little bit, but Northcote nice and solid on their line that time.
Now the 19 out there, I must apologise for. Just a couple of little jersey issues. Seloni Liava'a is, I'm told, in the 19 jersey. So apologise to you there. We had Cruz Tupou listed as 19. Which obviously is not the case. So 19 now for the Howick Hornets. Seloni Liava'a, a lost ball. And a knock-on there for the Tigers. And they were just creating opportunities.
Not the end of the world there for Northcote, though. They finished that set down at the right end of the park, and they have just looked a little frazzled at times, so they just need to get back into their rhythm a little bit, and I don't think they'll mind that one too much. They finished that one about 25 off their own line.
So it's the Howick Hornets now, just outside their 30-metre line and 20 in from the northern touch line. They're going tit for tat. It's a bit of an arm wrestle out there. One on your Corpy sideline. Inside ball, 16 Trent Bishop. Ton of experience, good purposeful run here this time from Nicky Wilson. Just over into enemy territory now. He's 5 metres in. Bishop gets receipt of the football, manages to prop and pass. Gets it back to Friend. A little bit of a jinking run from Jethro. Finds him centre field in 25. And a bit of a knock-on too, although that's been questioned by the skipper.
Yeah, plenty of bodies in that one. It was hard to tell exactly what went down there, but just look out for the impact of Trent Bishop fresh on the field. He's got that quick play of the ball He's also got a little bit of second phase. We saw a couple of offloads in the lead up to that one. He's had an interesting old year. Trent Bishop originally signed across to play for Mount Albert, appeared for them at the pre-season Sports Safe Nines tournament, then decided he was coming back to Howick. So he's played for 2 clubs in the 1 calendar year, which is a bit of a unique experience, but certainly a big in for Sean Clark's side. It's some real genuine size around the middle of the park, and also when Tony Tuia goes off the field, he sort of brings that experience into the middle of the park as well.
Bit of mongrel, bit of muscle as well. He's a chunky, solid sort of an athlete and physique-wise. So he's always a bit of a handful, both on attack and defence. Just looking back, and of course, if you've just picked up on our live stream broadcast through the Auckland Rugby League and MaoriTelevision.com, they tried to pull a pucky in the 6th minute for Howick, converted for a 6-0 lead. And then 7 minutes later, the right wing for the Tigers, James Waterson, in to score. So it's the Tigers in possession right now and into the Howick half. About 57 metres out from their own line as it goes through Xavier Rice and onto Schomkill. He'll want to quick play the ball. Bishop the tackler, centre field 30. Quickly through Tahoe. Keeps it alive. Timothy Cook now gets a kick that's nicely picked up by Louis Tusa on the left wing for the Hornets.
A little bit messy come last tackle play once again there for the Northcote Tigers. Probably not the ideal option, getting the ball out there. Whether it's a pre-sort of planned idea to try and test these edges out, I'm not too sure. But Howick Hornets, well, they've got an answer for everything so far defensively. They just need to probably improve their completions a little bit. We've seen some sloppy errors the last couple of minutes.
So here's Bishop, and he'll play for Friend, who finds Edwards, who's probing too, and even tempted to pop the ball to Bishop, who was following him up. They'll come down the short side for Radic. He'll launch the ball high. Waterson provides some cover for Cole Walker, and brilliantly around the outside comes the fullback. He'll try and wrong foot the defender, and he does extremely well. What a surging run that was. And a 50-metre run from Cole Walker after some wonderful shadowing by Waterson, who's got the ball now and puts the foot down sideways. He's trying to link up around the outside for him. Top try scorer in the Fox Memorial Championships put away. Only 15 metres out from the try line, 15 in from the southern touchline. Carry this time around for Joe Baywater. He'll play it on the 10 metres out. Charging effort this time around from Tuigamala, and he's put away too. Just a couple of metres from the try line. It's Malu. Here's options. Tigers looking threatening. Tigers are close. Still alive with a chance, and there's the finish. It's Morgan Timothy cooking to score in the corner for the Tigers, and what a ripping try it was too.
Yeah, what an incredible set. They go the best part of 95 metres on that one. It all starts with Cole Walker's break downfield, and then nicely finished in the end there, and he had James Waterson unmarked in the end. Timothy Cook manages to do it on his own, but that was a really good work there, and it all starts with Cole Walker, who's having a fine game at fullback. As we see here, Eko Malo get to the bottom of dummy half. Tiaho sums it up nicely, and Daniels, well, I thought he might have thrown the pass a little earlier there, but got it away in the end, and Timothy Cook, he gets low, and Tuia is helpless to stop him. Northcote Tigers take the lead for the first time in this match.
I'm really liking what you're saying about Waterson. His skills are on show. Put the foot down, but he was going sideways, but that was okay in the final wash down. It was a good setup, and Malu was quick with his hands, shuffled along, and Timothy Cook, he could have used his wing, this time through a little dummy, as you rightfully pointed out too, Corey, slid in underneath the tackle. Sideline now with Wairangi. Just you and me then. Mi old hombre. Just you and me there. Corey Rosser.
You can see the emotion there for Morgan Timothy Cook. He's a Northcote boy through and through. This will mean a lot to him and a number of these boys that have played here since they were little kids. To be in the finals once again with this club, you can just see the emotion there. Punches the ground as he scores the try. And they're riding on a high right now, Northcote.
Well, that was some try, some set up too. Why?
You got me now, boys. Yeah. Push a couple of buttons and something works. Yeah, rawe te oma tuatahi o Kau Waka te mokopuna start off that set for the Northcote Tigers. I thought they might have gone for that edge a little bit late. Tony there on the wing just but they managed to get back there and they picked them out nice.
Apologies there for what is obviously a tough situation technically from the side at the moment, but I just like to reiterate what Waiting was saying. Kaumatu of our commentary team, who does the work i Roti Te Reo Māori, Hamana Waka, that's Ko Waka, of course, one of his mokopuna. Hamana's from a family of 20, so they've got a few mokos. In fact, there might be more than 20 of them. But kia ora to all our Waka clan watching out today, and what happened there? Well, they're taking exception to Tigers. Joe Bywater, I hope he's okay. He hit the deck like a sack of spuds.
Yeah, good to see him straight back onto the feet. That times we see the replay there, and I think it's, by the look of it, actually Luke Armiger who's done the majority of the damage on that hit, but Joe Bywater back up to the feet and looking okay there.
Well, it's not for the faint-hearted. To Joe's credit, gives his teammates the nod, says we're okay. Trent Bishop has been singled out, but I'm with you too. I think Luke Armiger got the bulk of the shot across the top. Well, plenty of supporters in the stands here at Mount Smart too. Jethro Friend to do a replay for the referee, just clarify what's high and what's not. What we do know is that it's a tough sport for tough men and women. Not for the faint-hearted, that's for sure. Glad you could join us here. 10-6 is the scoreline, and it's the Northcote Tigers. Dylan's mum.
And as we see Bobby on screen there, Dale, do want to give her a shout out, and along with a number of others at the club, Nikki Wallace, for some of the brilliant work they have done at the Northcote Tigers, particularly over the last 3 years, and building this, and of course culminating with a semi-final appearance today. A very proud moment for all the people behind the scenes as well, who don't necessarily always get the credit they deserve.
Yeah, good on you, Corey. I'm with you too. The backroom staff so often work hard through trying circumstances. And good to see Joey Bywater with the football now. He's corkscrewed into the turf here, plays it 40 from the line. Ekumali, no, it's not, it's 17, it's Josiah Fu, who was acting dummy half then. So Rice gets it along, it's set up in the end goal perfectly, it will. Tommy Connick, and then a breakaway down the right edge. Wonderful play there from Jesse Kevin on the far side of the field, and he's nailed in the tackle of Ted Donnelly to play it 30 metres out, which is very good too, bearing in mind he picked it up from the end goal. Clever play from the wing.
Yeah, it was a brilliant kick from Tom Connick, set it up perfectly, but the first up contact just not quite up to it there from Northcote, and they do really well to get out there, the Howick Hornets, and they probably needed that one because they haven't had much ball in the last 5 or 6 minutes, so pressure relieving set here for the Howick Hornets. A real must complete for them as Trent Bishop takes it forward.
10-6 the scoreline here, was just on 6 to play in the first half. Remember, the loser here is Gonskis for 2018. The winner gets a shot at the loser of our next game today, which you'll catch right here on live stream action from the ARL Almighty Television as we see Howick weaving their magic. This is a try, and they're making it look easy. Nicky Watson is in to score. The Howick Hornets, well, you can't take your eyes off them for more than a moment. And I'll square it up here as we head towards half-time. It's 10-all with a kick to come.
Put it down to the work of George Edwards here. His changes of direction have really hurt Northcote so far in this game. And once again, just a jinking run from him. Was able to promote some second phase as we see the replay come up here now. Radic at the centre of it as well. But you can just see Edwards, just that awkward style to tackle. Radic sums it up beautifully at the end here. And Nick Wilson runs it, and he's had a really good year, has Nick Wilson. He cracked the county side for the first time last year. Also clocked up 100 Fox games just a couple of weeks ago. He's a real underrated player in this Howick Hornets side. I know Coach Sean Clark, certainly Nick Wilson's name is one of the first on the team list every week. He finishes that one off nicely there. But once again, George Edwards, who's having a really good game, and I understand he was one of Howick's standouts last week against Point Chevalier, the way he brought the ball back, and he's had a heavy role to play so far in this one as Radic lines up the conversion.
Well, Drew had a good hand in that try as well. There were 3 players that could have scored it. Radic guides it through the uprights to give the most slender of leads to the East Siders as we go sideline with Wairangi.
I think you can put that down to Jesse Kevin and managing to get out of the end goal off that short little kick is a real missed opportunity there for the Northcote Tigers to trap the winger in the end goal and get a repeat set. And then on the turn side, the Howick Hornets have turned that whole set of 6 into a try. So fantastic work from the Howick Hornets to get themselves back in this game.
And as mentioned, the winner gets a shot at the loser of the Pirates Bears encounter later this afternoon. The winner there straight through to the grand final in 2 weeks' time. Taylor Powder with a settler here for the East Siders, 20 metres out from his own line. It's been a really hard-fought first 40 minutes. Get a feeling in there as both teams realise that it's backs-to-the-wall play here in finals footy. Terrific tackle. Centre field. What's left here for the Hornets? Friend is scragged and goes to ground a few metres short of the halfway line. I'll opt to go down the left side. Trent Bishop again trying to bulldoze his way. Loses control of the football. That'll be a scrum with the Tigers' feed.
Yeah, and a couple of sloppy errors coming in here in the back end of this first half. And you can see there Trent Bishop looking pretty frustrated. But really, they have let Northcote back into the game off the back of those errors, and it'll be a main work on. You can see here Trent Bishop just too keen really to promote the second phase, and it was never really on, was it? There was plenty of Northcote bodies around.
You can understand that he's wanting to keep the ball alive and the momentum rolling for the team with the wind at their backs. Just a 2-point lead going into the half-time break, which is, as you can see, a couple of minutes away. And you just wonder whether that will be enough. They'll have to fight and claw their way to success in the second half as we see Moses working on the left edge. Plays it 45 out from his own line. A wall of Howick defenders solidify that tackling technique. Centre field. Solid as Bishop takes a shot at Rice. The referee will be keeping an eye on him, no doubt. Josiah Afu is to ground here, only 22 metres from the try line. Good chance here for the Tigers as we count it down to half-time. Here comes Matty Tafutu. Big and powerful Matt, and now he's wrapped up on the 10-metre line. Good chance as Malu shows it, and then Afu, in fact, it is threads the needle. But despite his best efforts to get the curve on the ball to stay in goal, it goes across the dead ball line to the restart here for the Hornets on the 20.
Yeah, Josiah Afu off the bench, adding a little bit of spark there for the Northcote Tigers. Into some quick play of the balls off the back of those big forward packs, and watch out for Mati Tafutu as well, who has been really good for them in the middle of the park this year as we get to the back end of this half. And I think if it stays this way, Northcote will be pretty happy with the way things stand.
Yeah, I'd have to think so too, Corey. But it's been quite the game here as we see George Edwards get to his feet. Is there another twist to the tail at the back end of the first half? Bishop is able to pop the pass for Armiger. Is wrapped up by his opposite number, Bywater. Friend. Powder. Slammed by Josiah Afu. Centre field 35. Radic out the back. Been alive out now to Leva. He pops the ball nicely across to Louis Tusa. Back on the inside for Edwards. Back pedals a couple of metres. Now is swamped by the Tigers defenders who come at him in numbers. Just 20 seconds or so, although this is not the official clock you're watching at the moment. That, of course, is in the hands of the timekeeper sideline. It's really a guide for you as to how long might be left. Just over a minute, according to our timepiece here at Kahawai Productions. Proud to be bringing you the action through the Auckland Rugby League live stream and also through MaoriTelevision.com. It will be available commentary to Te Reo Māori as well at a future date through Māori Television. We get another look at some of the players making up this minor final here of the Fox Championship 2018, the pinnacle of Auckland Club Rugby League. Pleased to have your company wherever you're viewing this from, and we know that live streaming opportunities are picked up globally. Could be in some far-flung destinations and enjoying the action from Mount Smart too. There's a scrum, one more scrum, and Howick quickly set themselves, so they'll get use of the football before the half-time hooter, which is pending. And time off, I hope it's not for a shoelace.
You kept moving, you had all the men. We're still waiting on last man down.
Just waiting to ensure there are 6
Just wait
in the
half,
scrum.
wait
Cole
half.
Walker comes in to make up numbers here. So, as we come close to half-time,
One's not back on, we need to get everybody in. Okay, you need to get your head
2
in.
tries apiece.
Back it down,
Just
boys.
one conversion separating
Last
these
man.
2 proud clubs from the east side, the Howick
Out.
Hornets, and from Auckland's North Shore, the Northcote Tigers. Here is Leah Va'a. Slammed in the tackle of Waterson.
That's one.
Still a chance. Radic. Out now to Nick Wilson. Scored the try just on 5 or 6 minutes ago. Big chance. Howick Hornets. Can they make something of it? Out the back to Prendergast. Lost the ball. It's gone forward. So a chance to profit goes begging there. And we will get time for another scrum to pack down on the 10-metre line.
Yeah, good work there from Ted Donnelly, getting plenty of applause on that one there as we see the replay pop up. Ball comes loose. So a couple of errors from both sides to finish this one. And Howick unable to make Northcote pay for that poor error coming out of yardage.
Tigers are winning right now.
Seconds in.
Tigers.
Last man in. Georgian.
Don't
That's
want to
been
give
an entertaining
So penalty.
first half of footy. 12-10 here as Northcote see if there might be just something they can sneak out of the back end of the first half. Only comes for Dylan Moses in the 12, but really working that left edge. Slow to get to his feet this time around. The hooter in the background will signal the conclusion of the first 40, and an entertaining first 40 it has been as well. Just as they were locked up tight on the table coming into today's fixture, 3rd and 4th. And they've had 1 win apiece each through season proper. Come to finals football, and they can hardly be split. 12-10, it's the Howick Hornets lead the Tigers at half-time. Well, Corey, plenty to like about the attitude both teams have taken into this finals play. They really can't be separated after that first 40.
Yep, certainly got a very much an elimination final feel about it. Both sides throwing plenty in there, and we've seen some of the contact has just been massive. We've seen players get knocked down a couple of times already in this game, but off the ball, some of the defence has been excellent, particularly on the edges. They've been very aggressive. We've seen some errors forced out wide where try-scoring opportunities look like they were developing. You can see on screen there, both sides now going into their huddles, and I think both sides will take plenty of positives out of that one. The Howick Hornets, well, they look at their best when they're promoting that second phase, but it's just finding the right balance. They've had some poor errors as well, which led to Northcote tries. And for the Northcote Tigers, I think the real key for them, just keep rolling down the middle of the park. They seem to be doing really well when they get the big boys moving.
Let's have a look at how it all panned out in the first. Was big, Pulupaki. You know, this guy's genuine size, and he ran with purpose that time around. It was a wonderful try. Then followed up here, deft little touch as well from Michael Malu with the kick. The rebound somewhat fortunate, and then wrapping up the try out wide for, is it Watson? Down the right side.
Yeah, and the common thread in Northcote's 2 tries, Morgan Timoti Cook set the first one up for Waterson with some nice quick hands and then scored one of his own a little bit later on. This was a nice one from the Howick Hornets. George Edwards just promoting that second phase, and then Radic sums it up. It all started with Jesse Kevin's miraculous escape from the in goal, and got them downfield, and then nice little bit of offload footy from the Hornets, and it finishes with Nick Wilson scoring out wide. Interesting, both sides have scored tries off the back of big kick returns. Cole Walker setting up Morgan Timoti's Cook's try, and Jesse Kevin as well, as we see some stats coming up on screen now. Possession fairly even, along with the completions. The big one Probably looking there, the missed tackles is probably the key one to sort of come out of that so far, Dale.
Yeah, and also maybe the 9 on 20 extra tackles that have been made, but really both these two teams very evenly matched. The wind, I think, will be a factor here in the second half. The Northcote Tigers will be pretty pleased to be down by just 2 at half time, bearing in mind I thought maybe a 6 or 10 point wind in favour of Howick in that first 40.
You're right, and all the conversations we're having with Wairangi down on the side of the field, that wind is a fairly significant factor. So with that in mind, I think Northcote will go into the break feeling pretty happy with their work so far. And, for the Howick Hornets, well, they have been able to put together some big second halves this year. There's been a number of games where they've sort of been tied up around that 6 point mark at half time, and they've overcome teams in the second spell using that real size, and not just in the middle of the park for them, but in the outside backs as well, the likes of Sailoni Liava'a, Anthony Foimono. They are big outside backs. They wouldn't look out of place in the middle of the park, so those guys do tend to score a number of tries late in the match. We see Coach Sean Clark on screen there, and been a big year for Sean. Became a father, and of course wife Serena Clark, making the New Zealand Warriors NRL Women's Premiership side. We'll see that side in action next week when they take on the Auckland representative side. We will be able to bring you that match streamed live and free on aucklandleague.co.nz, multitelevision.com. So very much looking forward to that. It's been a good competition this year as well, the women's comp and the Farrelly Photos Women's Premiership. We've seen a real high standard as well. Of course, the majority of the Kiwi ferns coming from that competition. See on screen, good crowd in today here at Mount Smart Stadium number 2. Both of these two clubs well supported. There's been some real hype around this week. The Howick Hornets have become fairly accustomed really to playoff football. They've always been there or thereabouts in recent years, and Dale mentioned earlier their last title coming back in 2011 for the Northcote Tigers. Well, new territory for most of these guys. A lot of these guys just about weren't born the last time the Northcote Tigers were in the semi-finals.
Well, there's plenty of cordial going down in there at the moment, as you can imagine. Sean Clark will say, guys, we've worked so hard to get here for the Howick Hornets. We're still a big chance to go on with it, but we have to have absolute steely resolve early on in the second 40. They might have hoped, as mentioned, to be a little more ahead, but nevertheless, there's still plenty to look forward to in the second 40 coming up soon here on Māori Television and Auckland Rugby League's website. It's the minor preliminary elimination final from Mount Smart number 2. Did you want us to swap? So there he is, Dylan Moses. He's grown a bit of facial here, and of course he's got the top knot going on this year as well, but he's just one of those wholehearted footballers, and all who play beside him really enjoy his attitude to the game, and that can be really inspirational, perhaps part of the reason that Northcote have performed so well this season.
Yeah, you're right, Dylan Moses. He's one of those players that no one's really got a bad word to say about him, and you wonder how important his experience will be as well, Dale, given that he's been in the finals with Point Chevalier for the last 5 or 6 years in a row, and no doubt he'll be having a fair bit of the talk in that team huddle there. He's had a frustrating year on some levels. He's battled an Achilles injury. He was sort of training for most of the week, and then it just wouldn't come right for game day, so he hasn't played a lot of footy this year. We were able to stream his comeback game at Birkenhead War Memorial Park at the start of the year, though, and that was a great occasion. He scored a try in that game. The whole place erupted. I know he's certainly enjoying being back and taking on a bit of a mentor role as well, remembering when Dylan was at Northcote last time, he was actually probably one of the younger players coming through the ranks. He returns a veteran. He's the reigning Auckland Player of the Year as well. Certainly a massive boost come finals time. And when we look at that, Northcote probably do have the experience over the Howick Hornets in this one, but the key guys for them, I guess, in the second half, they really do need to stand up. Jethro Friend, who's had a brilliant year in the number 9 jersey, Tony Tuia as well, the likes of Nick Wilson, Trent Bishop off the bench. So they do have guys who have been there before, George Edwards, who won a competition with Papakura a couple of years ago. So they do have guys who know how to get the job done. It will be so important that they start this second half well.
Can you hear us, Wairangi? Perhaps you might be able to chime in here, because I see you with your Māori ears into the huddles. Not quite with us at the moment, eh, what? Kei te pai. You're looking good on screen anyway, let's just say that. I'll let you know that's for sure. So the turnaround on here, the wind at the backs of the Tigers. As mentioned, backs to the wall. Great to have you along. And of course, wandered down. A lot of our whānau too were involved in last week's final. Congratulations to Tani Wharau. Of course, if Te Maipi was with us today, Corey Rosser, we would have heard that name umpteen times this week. They took out the Waikato final against College Old Boys, Church College Old Boys last week, and congratulations to the proud West Huntly-based Tani Wharau.
Yeah, and mentioning footy down that way, the Auckland Sharman Cup representative side will actually be playing down there today, Patterson Park at Ngaruawa here. They're taking on the Waikato development down there, so a big shout out to our second division representative side. They'll be playing a 4-match regional series against Bay of Plenty, Waikato and Northland over the next few weeks, so keep an eye on aucklandleague.co.nz for all the results and reaction from that one as well, as we prepare to get back underway for the second half, and it'll be Northcote with first use of the ball.
So 40 minutes to determine who will go forward and whose season will wrap up. Mad Monday awaits those who falter here in the back half of this enthralling game between the Tigers and the Hornets. Right now it's Dylan Moses who will have the opportunity to play the ball. 12 out from the halfway line. Joey Bywater took a big shot when he first came onto the field, but he seems to have come good off the back of that. Probing runs through the middle here from the Tigers. Xavier Rice now is pulled down, and a little nosy from Afu just almost slices them open himself. Gets the ball out to the right-hand side. It's sent back on the inside here for Waterson. Finisher extraordinaire, but couldn't quite nail the prize this time around.
Yeah, they just about pulled it off again down that side of the field. Morgan Tamoti Cook once again at the heart of it, and Howick did really well to scramble across there and shut that down in the end. Once again though, Josiah Afu, his speed out of the bottom of the ruck, so important for Northcote since coming onto the field about 20 minutes ago.
He can move, can't he? Josiah Afu in jersey 17, keep your eye out for him as Howick just try to plug up the holes here. Trent Bishop attracts plenty of defenders as well, which is always useful for his teammates. There's 3 that come forward, including Moses. He'll play it for Friend. Taylor Powder up to play it, and then back on the inside, Luke Armiger gets under the attention there of Moses upstairs. Downstairs working hard too by Bywater. The kick is deep now. Taken by Teddy Connolly, who gets hold of it about 25 from his own line, just charges forward. A settler really, conservative play from him, and he's put away just short of the 30-metre line.
Yeah, Howick's best set in quite some time as well. Just got through their work there and then got to a good kick at the end of it. Although it found Donnelly on the full. Finished down the right end of the park. Matt Tafutu starting to really come into this game as well. He's had some big carries back end of the first half and early in the second half as Bywater puts the ball down, and Nick Wilson up and in the face that time.
Well, in defence of Bywater, it really went behind him, didn't it? It was always going to struggle to pull it in. A few words there being exchanged with the skipper. Taylor Daniels with the C beside his name today, and a knock on with a Howick scrum feed. We'll check if Wairangi's sideline and standing on one foot with his hand on his head. How you doing, Wai?
Tēnā kōrua, boys. Yeah, I found another spot, but yeah, interesting half-time talk from both these teams. Actually, interesting structure from the Howick Hornets. They split into 2 groups, actually. the leadership group and then the younger group. And the leaders spoke over what they needed to do at halftime and then passed it on to everybody else. So it's probably the first time I've really seen that at this level. On the other hand, the Northcote Tigers very enthusiastic. They know what needed to be done. They really need to dig in. They're having a tough time against this big Howick Hornet forward pack. So they know that at the end of the game, though, they feel like they're a little bit fitter and they could get over this Howick Hornet side. But in typical fashion, Tony Tuia was doing what he does. He was taunting the Northcote Tigers through that halftime break. So I'm looking forward to seeing when he gets back on the park.
As Bishop gets the ball alive to little dummy. That's a try. In the score, Johnny V. Well, they really earned that one, didn't they? And the Tigers fell away on their defensive work. And Johnny Woodenbow, well, he's not going to make a mistake from close range like that. I thought he too could have popped the pass, but he decided to hold on to the ball, and he goes through to score early in the second 40.
And it comes off the Northcote era up on halfway. Joe Bywater putting the ball down, and then from there, Howick sends some big bodies at them. And then on the edge, Johnny Vuitibao, who is a classy player, spent some time on the Sunshine Coast and also in the New Zealand Warriors system. And you can see here, once he gets it, just manages to run through the would-be tackle from Thomas Connick, who was coming across sideways and really didn't have a lot of choice there. Howick Hornets, that is a dream start to the second half. We mentioned how important it was going to be that they made a good start here, considering they're against the wind in the second half. And they get the job done there. Drew Radich now to attempt the conversion. He's had a brilliant year off the boot. And just as I say that, the commentator curse, well and truly alive.
It wasn't very good. Not one of his best ones there, Corey. But hats off to Howick, drawing first blood in the second 40 as well. They got it after 6 minutes of the first half through that try through Pulupaki. And now Johnny V puts his arm up in triumph after crossing there. Some supporters as well coming up. The scheduled 2:30 kickoff. It's the Bears and the Pirates. The winner straight through to the grand final in a fortnight's time. And, of course, one of these teams will get a chance to do battle with the loser of that major semi-final. Pleased to have you along, too. Coming at you through MāoriTelevision.com, AucklandRugbyLeague.com as well. And the Howick Hornets look like they've got an extra spring in their step. His friend is marshalling the troops. This man's had quite a telling impact on the attitude and direction since he's come on. In 16, of course, Trent Bishop.
He's had some big carries. Trent Bishop has had a couple of errors in there as well, but the good certainly outweighing the bad so far. And just with Tony Tuia and Pulipaki off the field as well, just manages to keep that rhythm going for Howick as we see them get to the kick there. And that's a really good set from the Howick Hornets after points.
Very good. Sideline with you, Why?
Yeah, as I mentioned, boys, those big forwards, they're just starting to roll through the middle of the Northcote Tigers pack at the moment. And like you said, Corey, these two big boys on the side are looking forward to getting back out there and keeping those momentum going. It's really important, I suppose, at this stage for the Northcote Tigers to try and halt that momentum any way they can. They do have that wind on their backs, and they did mention at halftime that they want to try and use that wind as much as they can. So, like you said, the width of this field is not regulation. It's actually only 50 rather than 60. So there is an opportunity there for the Northcote Tigers if they can kick a 40-20.
Thank you, Why. I see Tony Tuia warming up. It's a real feather in the cap, isn't it, for Sean Clark to have such an imposing figure. I guess champing at the bit on the sideline, waiting for his opportunity to be reintroduced. He'll be back in there soon, no doubt. And now Northcote Tigers, pressure on them too. 16-10 down now. They have the football, centre field, and Xavier Rice will play it. Marita Futu built low to the ground and wrapped up by his opposite number, Taylor Powder. And they're a bit concerned for Matt. That maybe he went down and hit the deck head first. There's some worry for him. Did you see anything untoward in there, Corey, or is it just he fell awkwardly?
Yeah, it fell awkwardly by the look of it, Dale, and certainly Polder was very quick to show concern. We'll get a good look at it here now as we see plenty of bodies on top of him. Maybe just collected the knee there or the ankle.
Yes. At first I thought it was his head, but obviously not. He's looking a bit dusty on it. Hats off to Anthony Elliott refereeing today. McMillan sidelined with him. Nathan Barker-Pringle as well. Big ups to the crowds who follow these squads around suburban Auckland through the Fox Championship of 2018. George Edwards, very elusive with ball in hand. George.
He's had a good game so far, has George Edwards as well. Xavier Rice on camera there. Certainly does more than his frame would suggest playing in the middle of the park. He'd be one of the smaller middle forwards in Auckland. Just as Matt Tafotu is taken from the field. I do want to give a big shout out to SAS Sport, the principal sponsors of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership, sponsors of the SAS College Rugby League comp as well. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do half the things we are doing with delivering the local game. So a big thank you to Tim Connolly and his team. As Tafotu is taken off from the side. This is a big loss for them, Dale. He had some really good carries at the back end of that first half as well. Was getting some quick play of the balls, so looks like someone's going to have to push through some bigger minutes in the middle of the park now, whether that be Trent Shomkul or Eddie Finota.
I think it's Eddie who will make his way on to replace Matthew. I don't think we'll be seeing much more of Tafotu this afternoon. Still, things can change. It is finals footy, and sometimes players find reserves. We kick. Tom Connick steadying himself at the back and taking that skillfully is Jesse Kevin, who sends it on the inside for Edwards. He goes across field, just centres up and gives more opportunity for his middles to make some inroads. Decent sort of a carry and a solid hit you could hear from here through Brodie Tamarua. Doing the defensive work. Seloni Leva'a. Grassed here. 35. Centre field. Bishop, first receiver, one right. Almost manages to punch through. Built low to the ground, but very solid and tough. Trent Bishop. He's it belies sometimes his size. Faster than people are expecting. There's the kick. Cole Walker. Safe as houses at the back and wrapped up now. 25 from the line.
Yeah, really got control of that middle battle once again now, have the Howick Hornets, and it's come off the back of Trent Bishop, who had two really good carries in that set, as we see Nalu Tuigamala now bringing the ball back. The outside backs getting involved for Northcote. That's because the middles are blowing right now. They have been worked over the last few minutes. Fair
enough too, Corey, and that's good to see. The outside guys coming in to relieve some of the pressure. Through the middle they come, though, and 40 metres out from the try line. It's the Tigers in possession. 10 minutes into the second half, 6 points in the game here as Moses gets a nice ball away. Down the left edge, this is the 5. Donnelly steps back on the inside, and his opponent, James Kevin, is good with the defensive work. First receiver is Connick, decides to change the point of attack. Here's Cole Walker, putting it into the in goal, and a moment's hesitation almost proving costly.
Tom Connick racing through there to get to the line. And, really, it didn't look like there was a lot on at the time Waka put boot to ball, but Connick making that extra effort to get there, and he will force the repeat set. So, big one coming up here for the Northcote Tigers.
Nicely weighted from Cole Waka. Some confusion at the back for George Edwards. And in the end, survived, but only just.
He's an interesting story as Tom Connick, come across from England. He's played some high-level football over there for London Scholars and the St Helens Reserves. He's over here on a working holiday and spent the first few weeks coming off the bench, playing on the left edge for the Northcote Tigers, but now got that starting spot. He's a real key for them.
Yeah, it looks like he's enjoying himself here in Aotearoa. Good on you, Tommy. Let's see what else you've got. Obviously, a lot of the guys from the old dart come out here and just like our lifestyle, so we'll see how he features. He's certainly enjoying himself here with the Tigers. That's him in possession now. Connick shows it on the inside, holds on to the football. It becomes a Hornet sandwich. 6 metres from the line, slowly to the play the ball this time around. Josiah Afu into dummy half, Rice, and now to Tamarua. He's the ground only 5 metres from the try line, but a poor play the ball here. These are the sorts of mistakes you can ill afford in finals footy. A little bit of niggle coming into the game. We go sideline with you, please. Why?
Unfortunate there, Tamarua just coming up and bobbling the ball a little bit. I think he had the Howicks all over him there, but he really needed to control that. It was a little bit of a missed opportunity for Northcote Tigers. Second set, attacking the Howick Hornets line. They're going to get some fresh men on the park here in a minute.
Multitelevision.com. You've got 16, 10, 12 gone, second half. Minor preliminary final and elimination final. 15 metres from the try line. This is a try scorer. 5 minutes into the second half, Johnny V quickly to his feet, and now Tuia is back into the mix. Big frame and never say die attitude, very valuable to Sean Clark. Of course, a long-time member of staff at Sutton Road School in Auckland South. Popular figure, Tony. And this time Dylan Moses is penalised for raking the football. Taylor Daniels happy to discuss the issue with Elliott, the referee.
Yeah, Moses insistent that he hadn't touched the ball at all in there, but Elliott assured in his call. Of course, referee Elliott, he has reffed at those higher levels. Great to see those guys come back into the Auckland competition as well. We get a good look at it here now, and there was certainly plenty of work going on in there.
So 4-all penalty counts, nicely officiated here by Elliott. Sometimes you see dozens of penalties in finals footy, but he's let the game flow as Josh Tafili works it, and Tuia again happy to draw the defensive work to him. The skipper, Daniels. Now this is Leva'a. Afu across the top, Rice. He just continues to be a tackling demon for Jeff Morton's Northcote Tigers. Howick starting to be full of self-belief too as they become close or get close to the line. Josh Tafili. So what will Howick do with the football? They want a sideways kick. It's well taken in the end by Tuingamala. Takes it in the end goal and looks for the quick start on the 20.
Yeah, Northcote did well to soak up some pressure there. Tony Tuia back on the field. He's been heavily involved and had to take plenty of punishment in the middle of the park there, but Northcote, they'll get some confidence from that one and just need to get back into things now, complete a couple of sets. You see young Brody Tamarua fresh on the park, Northland product. Played some good footy this year for the Tigers as Daniels now takes it forward.
Daniels, long-time servant of the game. One of the coach's real good guys too, and you would have been very pleased to see Northcote's resurgence through 2018. Been in threatening positions at times at the bottom of the Fox table. Of course, one team will exit the Fox this year and make way for the winner of the Sharman Cup to come into the top echelon. There are plenty vying for that opportunity too in the Sharman Cup. We'll be bringing you the action finals day as well of the Sharman Cup on the Auckland Rugby League website. The live streaming capabilities, the way of the future for many codes. Again, saluting the efforts of those who've been involved in the coverage this year. This is a fine run, superb run. Josh Tafili. Excellent run, not such a good pass to follow up on. Johnny V gets hold of the ball. He's away from one, turns back, looks to prop and pass to ground. 35 from the line. Now on the boil is Pulupaki. Like a bulldozer. And he plays it quickly on the 20. Jethro Friend weaving out of dummy half, and he's almost through. 8 metres out, right in front of the post. It's Tui in a dummy half. Throws a dummy toe and he loses the football. So it was all there and almost an intercept as well to boot. The Tigers don't have the ball and they make it back to the 20. They certainly dodged a bullet that time around.
Yeah, and I wonder how Jeff Morton's feeling in the coaching box as he sees that offload come away. Probably not in the game plan, and they're going to dodge a bullet here. The ball's come loose, but it's going to be ruled a strip. So this will be a Northcote penalty, but just one to watch. Dale Taylor-Daniels earlier in the set there, he reeled away from one of the tackles, clutching at his shoulder. He sort of hit on the wing for the next couple of plays, so that'll be one to keep an eye on. One Northcote can ill afford to lose.
I'm not so sure I agree with that call, that it was a strip. It was a tough, hard tackle, and hitting the deck seemed to dislodge the football. So Northcote have it now. 17.5 minutes into the second half. And it's 16-10 the scoreline. Missed tackles now mounting up for Northcote at 19. Trent Chomkul plays it, fiddle cross. Afu, control of the acting half role. Down the right side come the Northcote Tigers. Looking to free his arms as the 7, Jordan Tiahong, excuse me. And Jordan plays it for Rice. Here's a chance for the Tigers. Back on the inside, a little bit of a dummy by Afu. Keeps it alive, it's Connick. Played off the hands from Moses. The pass from Connick to Moses was poor. The referee asking the big number 4 to back it up. This is Anthony Fuimwano, play on. We are alive again through Jesse Kevin.
In some of the dummy half service and just those last passes today just been a little bit off for Northcote. That was the case once again that time. We saw it almost happen down the right-hand side. The Northcote Tigers just looking for a way through this Howick Hornets line, which after some early issues has had an answer for everything so far in this second half.
Nicky Wilson on the dart here at the moment. Quick hands. Radic says, well, let's get the ball down the other end of the ground. Finds Cole Walker, who's nicely positioned on the 20. He winds up the springs as well. Walker with a good return of the football. Connick slides into acting half. And talking about winding up. Good run again from Tuingamala. Solid and quick. Xavier Rice. Into the Howick territory come the Tigers. Offload here for Shomkul. Shomkul. 3 defenders. It's taken to put him away. Midway 20-30. Left side for Dylan Moses. Putting a kick in. I'm not sure he communicated well enough with his outside men. In the end, easy pickings for Jesse Kevin. He returns the football well once again. Sideline wide. Still with the ball is Louis Tusa. George Edwards looking to get himself involved just a little bit more. He's not getting as many touches as his skill set would suggest he deserves. And here is Tuia. He's okay for that, just that solid carry through the middle, Tony. Not always trying to pop the passes. Previous seasons, he maybe could be guilty of trying to do too much with the ball, but now realising his role is just to trundle forward, and he's doing that very effectively. Not played at this stage, and that will find its way into touch. You await the referee's call. They'll pack it down 20 in from the northern touchline.
A little bit messy there at the end of it, but good kick pressure from the Northcote Tigers. Interesting on that last set, Nalu Tuigamala really got things going with his quick play of the ball. He's a really good carrier of the ball. We've seen him used both in the back row and in the centres so far this year, and I think the more times he can touch the ball as this game goes on, the better it's going to be for the Northcote Tigers, particularly once they get Eko Malu onto the field, as we see him return now in the number 9 jersey. So this scrum to pack down just short of the halfway line. It's Malu with the ball in hand, so we may have seen bit of a reshuffle in the spine as well for the Tigers. Tommy Connick playing a little bit of dummy half in the last few minutes.
Well, Wairangi Kopu, things are tight here into the last quarter of rugby league for one of these teams. How are you reading where we're at, mate?
Yeah, boys, the Northcote Tigers, they need something here. They need a little shot of enthusiasm. They've been battling for the last 10 or so minutes up against the side of the Howick Hornets, who've had really all the momentum, and they're getting to go forward. And as you see, they're starting to muscle up on defence as well. So the Tigers really need something to go their way here. A little bit of luck, and it'll get them right back in this game.
Well, the Howick Hornets are up defending stoutly this time around. Fuimano makes the tackle. As we see the work in the middle, I agree with what Wyer's saying. They're just missing a little bit at the moment. Some sting, some finesse. That will create the magic to help the Tigers get back into the game. They haven't scored since the middle of the first half, and now we're into the back end of the second half as a darting, weaving run comes from Jordan Tauho. And he looks a bit worse for wear as a result.
He didn't manage to catch exactly what happened there. Northcote was certainly appealing straight away, and Tiaho, nursing a bit of a knock to the head there, it would look, and I wonder if he will have to go off for an HIA check. Looks like they've got Thomas Connick now sitting on the sidelines, so there has been a change-up in that Northcote spine. Eko Malu now looks like he's running the right edge, Tiaho down the left.
So Jordan Friend, what role is captaincy here in guiding the Howick Hornets across the line? 17 or so minutes to play. Tuia, slow to his feet this time around, reaches for his lemon. Lost a little bit of juice there or something as we see Georgie Edwards. He too, with this elusive footwork, trying to create some opportunities as Leova'a. He too acts like a bit of a battering ram and goes to the 40-metre line. Speaking of battering rams, here he is, Pulupaki. Scored the first try after 6 minutes. That's the halfway line. So Howick, confidence will be growing as Johnny V splits them open again. Here he goes in full flight. Oh, he's an impressive sight. Radic gets the ball. It's still a goer out wide here for the Howick Hornets. And the big number 5, Louis Tusa, comes under some attention and is wrapped up by Waterson. 10 metres out from the try line, has been knocked down. Play on. Here's George Edwards. Another set at their disposal here now for the Hornets. Tough times for the Tigers at the moment. They are under the pump. And now the torch is being lit right underneath them. Here come the Howick Hornets. 3 metres out from the try line. Sluggish play the ball, a horror. And the chance for the Hornets to really ram the advantage home goes begging.
And that is a huge error there. Josh Tafili just trying too hard to get to that quick play of the ball. What about Johnny Vueti-Bau? Just splits them open with that little bit of footwork. He's been good today. Of course, scored a try earlier. You can see here, Josh Tafili had 3 defenders on him. Just looking to play the ball when he was only halfway up over the ground. Northcote will breathe a massive sigh of relief after they were under the pump that time. I'm not sure they were going to hold on for too much longer.
Felt like they were really, really under pressure, didn't it?
Drown them, boys.
And now, wait, that's not all, because the Tigers have the ball now. 10 metres out from their own line. They'll need a very good set here, a steadying set, a right the ship sort of a set. Brody Tamarua, quick play the ball, good meters here. Here's Moses down the left side. Donnelly back on the inside. Big Teddy is now forced to succumb a couple of meters inside enemy territory. Schomkel. Better set here from the Tigers. Dummy half work, Afu. Wide now. Looking for opportunities on the far side of the field. Howick fancying their chances of bundling the Tiger across the chalk. It's the final. And it's Jordan Friend who's up there like a lightning bolt to put pressure on. Taken beautifully out here by Jesse Kevin. Jesse's done some very good things in the game, and that was an important take from the right wing for the Hornets. Now Wairangi seeing a little bit more effort coming in at the moment, a little bit more venom in the runs from both teams. "30 metres out from their own line, the Hornets. Tuia says, well, I know which way I'm going to go. He's as predictable as the day is long. 5 short of the halfway now, Hornets. And Friend has played a steady hand himself today. Through to Radish, splits him at the back. Connolly down one side, Waka, who eventually fields the ball just a couple of metres from his own line and spirals his way forward before being tackled 12 metres from his own line. Connolly to dummy half. Easy pickings here for Friend and Kevin. Make the tackle there on the 20-metre line, assisted by Liam Prendergast. Down the right side now. This was almost looking good until Drew Radic came along and put on a demon tackle on the far side.
Yeah, the Northcote Tigers now just looking to make that little difference. The outside backs getting heavily involved. Brody Tomaroa, he's had some nice touches and just on cue puts Dylan Moses into a little gap, but it's going to be called back for a forward pass. And Northcote just looking a little frustrated right now, struggling to find any breakthrough in the middle of the park, and that time just guilty of pushing the issue a little bit. The right idea though, Dale.
Well, they were looking like they were hard done by, but I can't agree with them. It drifted well forward. So there he is, the skipper for Howick. Be a real feather in his cap if he's able to guide the team through just a touch more. As we see that ball, not much in it, but from the angles that we are privy to, I think the referee, Anthony Elliott, made the right call. Wairangi set us up for the back end here, just on 12 to play. Obviously, he can't hear us, so you know, whatting into the wind.
Just to expand on your words on Jesse Kevin earlier, Dale, he's had a wonderful game. There's 2 or 3 high balls that he's claimed already in this game where he's really shut down point-scoring opportunities. He's done everything asked of him today, the winger.
And sometimes it's not about the flashy, is it, Corey? It's, you know, just doing what's expected of you in your position and doing it well. And with that contributing to the team's overall performance, and Jesse Kevin, admittedly, we must also acknowledge that super run that set up the try, I think, for Wilson. But he's helped out there. And look at this run from Leova. I thought he was going all the way. And only an inch or two short. Pressure on with the chase. Here come the Tigers. Who's got the football? It's a knock on. But what about the run there from Ceyloni Leova? How could you come so close and come away without points?
Yeah, when he got to the fullback, I thought it was game over there, the big fella, but it was a brilliant tackle, I think, down low from Taylor Daniels, and Cole Waka joined in late to close it down. We'll get a good look at it here. He just went through 2 or 3 there, and it was, in fact, Trent Shonkel who saves a try with that tackle. Waka does well to slow it down. And then look at Eko Malu. We just missed it on our replay there, but he gets off his line so quickly, and it's his presence that forces the mistake there. So Northcote just hanging on right now. Some big defensive plays in the last 10 minutes.
Still anyone's game here. You cannot wrap it up yet. Half-time, 12-10 for Howick. So here we are, just short of the halfway line.
So Northcote now working it forward. Xavier Rice has to reach for that one, and going to this left edge now. Moses takes the ball to the line, gets the flick out the back as well, and now a little bit of second phase going on here. Waka gets to it, and Waterson is lurking on that edge. It'll be Timothy Cook, Morgan Timothy Cook, and he will draw them even with that one. Brilliant second phase football from the Northcote Tigers, and Morgan Timothy Cook goes over for his second try of the game. Cole Waka dinks a beautiful little kick in over the top there, and that'll tie things up.
So 16 all is the scoreline. And look at that effort. Well called home too, I might say, Corey. Corey's been doing the lead commentary through the season on the ARL website. It's great to be working alongside him today as well. He's checking some details in the background while that try was scored, but that's the second try this afternoon. As mentioned, the game far from over. And now some pressure on as this conversion for a slender lead in this elimination final. That responsibility falling on Nalu Tuingomala.
Tuigomala, mentioned earlier, his goal kicking has been a real feature this year for the Northcote Tigers. He's handled the majority of the kicking this year. Kevin Locke doing a little bit of it from time to time as well. His biggest kick of the year coming up here. Just about a metre in from the sideline. He's 1 from 2 today.
So Nalu Tuingomala. A really important kick in the context of this elimination final. And he struck it perfectly. Absolutely spot on. Emotions running high as well, they might as well. The Northcote Tigers faithful, fizzing in the stands. What a beautiful ball it was from Moses, with weaving the magic out wide to Waka. And a great finish as well for Timothy Cook. But you can give that down to Dylan Moses, ton of experience, pops the pass and then sets up that play. 18-16 is the scoreline. It's the Tigers in front. Just on 6.5 to play here. Down the right side come the Tigers. The Howick Hornets need the football.
Risky offload that time from Taylor Daniels. They get away with it and keep the ball alive as Tiaho now has taken the ground. And Eko Malu looks to pitch a free ride on the back of an offside marker. Eventually wrestled to ground by Tuia.
Tony eventually off him now. Through Daniels, now Connick, out for Waka. Waka kicks for the end goal. It'll go end over end, and a restart now off the 20-metre line here for the Hornets. Times are getting desperate for the East Siders. Edwards has it. Kevin. Connick with the tackle. Well, you just feel like there might have been a momentum shift. Something was coming for the Tigers. Moses was the architect. And then Waka with the finesse to get it across for the finish by Morgan Timothy Cook. And with that magnificent sideline conversion as well from Tuingomala. Now the pressure on Howick. The Sean Clark coached Hornets. Out to Drew Radic. Edwards. Nice ball out to the far side. Utusa. 30 metres from the try line. The Hornets. Good hands. Radic. Tuia. Sends it back to Prendergast. Now on to Edwards. Chips over the top. Poor kick. Poor conclusion to the set.
Yeah, the play just broke down there, and you could see Drew Radic, he got a shocking pass from dummy half, which meant he had to shift the ball on. All of a sudden, Tony Tuia's got it on last tackle, and I dare say that's not in the game plan for the big fella to get it there. So messy stuff from the Howick Hornets. But look, they've got time if they can just settle things down. Plenty of time yet to get themselves back into this game.
Tuia over the top here on the tackle for the 2 try scoring Timothy Cook.
Kicking behind there, just a little bit too much weight on it again. That's 2 kicks in a row which have drifted dead there, just putting a little bit too much on it, and that time in the end waiting just a little bit off. Thomas Connick on screen had a bit of a rest earlier, but back onto the field now. Looks like he is operating down one edge of the field, and Eko Malu moved back into the middle of the park to play that hooking role. Played most of the year at halfback, Eko Malu, but doing a fine job at dummy half. Did play a lot there back in the junior levels with the junior Warriors, where he played under John Ackland, as Trent Bishop now takes the ball up over halfway.
Bishop's been good here, but they're going to have to be very, very good, aren't they? And there appears to be some conflict score-wise sideline. We'll keep you posted on it. To be honest, I thought that we were locked up here. There's some conjecture sideline to that. We will clarify it. It's not so much with our broadcast connections as the officials sideline and their read on where we are at. We're looking to finalise that. Some saying it's 18-16 to the Tigers, others believing it's 16 all. Let's see if we can get to the bottom of that. I read it the latter myself. We have been instructed by the sideline to put the other scoreline up. Hope you'll bear with us. All in all, what we've got is a game and a half and a drop goal from Cole Walker from right in front of the posts. Now, he must have thought it was 16 all, because you wouldn't be dropping a goal if you thought you were out by 2.
Yep, and I'm with Cole Walker. I believe the game to be locked up at 16 all, and looks like he's felt it there, Walker. He's down on the ground, but what about his impact in the last 15 minutes, Dale? He has just pulled himself into this game, set up the last try with a brilliant kick, and then there, well, that looks okay to me. He cops heavy, heavy contacts down low, so it's no wonder he's still down on his haunches. But he gives his side a 1-point lead, and in the champion minutes, Cole Walker has stood up big time.
He really has. His story is rich too, a Navy guy, and he's really committed himself to local suburban park footy. That field goal, just what the doctor ordered by the Northcote Tigers.
Cole Walker had a big year, the New Zealand Defence Force Sportsperson of the Year, which really says it all. He's really applied himself this year, played a number of games at the higher levels with the Warriors as well.
He's been in the ISP team this year, and a kickoff is regathered here. So it's certainly not done here if you are a Howick Hornets supporter. Down to the wire, as finals footy should be. Here is Tony Tuia, runs over one, looking to free his arms, 20 metres out from the try line. Still a chance for the Jethro Friend captained squad as we see Trent Bishop with the ball. And now Johnny V, alive it goes. Down the right side's Kevin. Beautiful hands back on the inside, and still with a chance the Hornets. 1 point on it, in it from our reckoning. 17-16. Here's Trent Bishop. And we come back up now, and confirmation from the side. That is the scoreline. Apologies for misleading you through patches of the second 40. Across comes the Howick Hornets, and breathed up with the ball is Nick Wilson. He's had a strong game. He'll play the ball for Edwards. Down the left side come the Hornets. Drew Radich is over the line, and Drew Radich gets it down. He's got it down. And the Howick Hornets go up in unison. Let's have another look. Radich, a ton of work to do. Look at him reach out, and he's planted the football.
Brilliant effort from Drew Radich. 3 defenders hanging off him. Manages to get the ball free, and look, I was looking field goal. I noticed they had dropped one of the playmakers back. Drew Radich had other ideas, goes down that left edge there. And really, a man his size, he had no right to sneak over there, Drew Radich, but what an effort. And it very much looks like he is going to keep Howick's season alive. Time off in the background there, but you can see the look on the Northcote faces. Absolute dejection after Cole Walker gave them a lead with that field goal a little earlier. It was just the show, wasn't it, Dale? He just managed to keep that defence guessing, and then reaches out at the end.
Well, this is the gold of sport, isn't it, Corey? It's the never say die attitude. And that's what keeps us pinned to our TV sets and heading down to the park each Saturday afternoon. Looking to add the extras, and from wide out, that's duly achieved as well.
Brilliant kick from Drew Radich. Howick in front. Still time for Northcote here if they're good enough. Got to be a short restart here. They got some tall timber. Look out for Ted Donnelly to get under this one.
What about the short restart to reclaim the football as well off the back of the Waka field goal? Sensational stuff. Hope you're enjoying the action. This too's a short kickoff. And up goes Connolly, but he couldn't secure the ball. And there's been a collision as well with he and Connick. So Tommy Connick, sorry, is down. Connolly comes to help him. He's a bit dusty, the Englishman. Well, disappointment etched on the faces of the supporters of the Howick Hornets. Connolly, looks like he might have collected his teammate's head with his hip.
Yeah, they certainly both went up with no regard for their own safety there, Tommy Connick and Ted Donnelly, but what an incredible game. We could not have asked for more out of this elimination semi-final as Tuia now is charged with carrying it forward and complete this set, and it should be all over Howick.
Down the left side they go. Good lead-up work to that try by Radic, and in the background the hooter goes. It's the Howick Hornets who will live to fight another day. They win this one at Mount Smart number 2, the elimination semi-final of the Fox Championship. It's the Howick Hornets 22, the Northcote Tigers 17. There's the look of victory. On the other hand, the dejected faces of the Northcote Tigers. What a game of football, full time. It's the Hornets 22, the Tigers 17.
And the character of this Howick side. A number of times they had to come from behind in this match. When Cole Waka kicks the field goal with about 3 minutes left on the clock, you think it's all over. But the short restart, they just kept believing. They go down the left-hand side, they score via Drew Radic, he then converts. And they just kept coming at them, the Howick Hornets. Heartbreak for the Northcote Tigers, who've done so well to get to this point of the season. We mentioned their incredible regular season they enjoyed, and a big congratulations to Jeff Morton and his crew, who I'm sure once the dust settles on this one, we'll look back with some pride on this one and look ahead to planning for next year. But the Howick Hornets, well, for the second year in a row, they are through the elimination semi-final, and they are one win away from the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership decider.
A great effort by George Morton and his team. There they are. A wonderful season for the Northcote Tigers. As mentioned through the call, they've been struggling somewhat at the foot of the Fox table for some seasons now. And now certainly supported their coach to make it through to the top 4. A wonderful effort for the North Shore-based squad. Just couldn't quite get the win, even though for a few moments there I'm sure they must have thought that they were going 1 week more. Well, congratulations to the Howick Hornets team. There's some outstanding players who really stood up today. Jesse Kevin had a lot to say, and in the end, Jethro Friend, although not the showy player, he just continues to guide the team around the park, not to panic. He's a level-headed captain and a very popular figure as we see him there at the front of the line. Both teams deserve tremendous credit. Johnny V with some outstanding busts through the line and creating opportunities. But really it was a team effort that got them home. They were up by 12-10 at half-time, and then Vuriba gets into score to 16-10. Timothy Cook with that wonderful effort, pulling in the sideways kick to make it 16-all, and then the field goal to 17-16. And I'm sure that the Northcote supporters thought that they had it there, only to be sunk by Radic's effort amidst 3 players as well to get through and get down for that dot down as well. Well, what an interesting game it has been. I hope you've been enjoying the action as well as we get a look at the replays. This first up was Pulipaki on the surge. A terrific run from him. About 7 minutes or so later, it's Eko Malu who tries to thread the needle, and it bounces fortuitously to Waterson, who also had a strong game as well, the right winger for the Tigers. Timothy Cook was in soon after and was able to do the work himself. He had options to go wide and to pick up with Waka, but took the ball in himself and was in to score. Wilson, though, wasn't done. About 5 minutes out from the half-time break, and this gap is created. George Edwards gets the ball across to Radic, and there were any number of players he could have fed for the try. In the end, it was Nicky Wilson who was in to score. 12-10 at the break.
Yeah, This was really such a key try in the final outcome of this game. Gave them that nice little lead at the break and just kept some safe distance, I guess. Nick Wilson done over for the try. And then early in the second half, really nice effort here. Vauiti Bale just taking the ball to the line, powers through the would-be tackle of Thomas Connick and goes over for it. Trent Bishop at the heart of that one. Once again, Johnny Vauiti Bale had a fine game on the edge. Really terrorised that Northcote side with his change of direction. And then here, Cole Waka, the presence of mind to kick over the top. Timoti Cook claims it. Tuigamala ends up converting it to tie things up. It was a brilliant, brilliant try. Timoti Cook's second of the game. And following the conversion, it did tie things up. But then 1 point down, Drew Radic. He takes the game by the horns, runs down that left-hand edge and scores the winning try.
And a wonderful victory here. 22-17, the Howick Hornets win this one against the Northcote Tigers. Let's go sideline with Wairangi.
Yeah, down here with the captain for the Howick Hornets, Jeffro, mate. Well, fantastic effort in the end. You guys you managed to steal it right in the death.
Yeah, that's it. Even though we're down by one, the boys are confident. We knew coming into the game that they're pretty enthusiastic young sides. We had to play the 80 minutes, and we did that, and we came out with the reward. So, yeah, happy with the effort.
A little bit of confidence coming off our last effort as well in the last round, but you guys put it together. I mean, you're under the pump right at the end there. What was as a captain? What did you say before that shell kickoff with about 2 minutes to go?
Just don't panic, fight, get around the ball, just be in a position to get the ball. So, if the ball did go our way, someone's there to grab it, and we got the opportunity and we executed. So, effort from everyone played their roles, and I'm happy with the team.
Big turnout for you boys. I know they'll be here supporting you next week as well.
Yeah, that's it. The crowd behind us, whether it's over the shore, whether it's over out west or out south, they're there to support. So I'm happy from that point of view.
Awesome, brother. Good luck for next week. Well done today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Jethro Friend, he's a popular player, captain, and now an opportunity to take it 1 week further as well. Well, they'll line up next week against the loser of our next game, which is coming up in about half an hour's time. In fact, about 20 minutes or so. And that, of course, is the Bears, and they'll be lining up against the Pirates. That's going to be one heck of a game too. Coming at you again, live streamed here on the Auckland Rugby League and MaoriTelevision.com websites. But we're just awaiting an opportunity for a second interview down sideline. There are some of the disappointed players and wives and girlfriends, of course. Tommy Connick was really dejected and disappointed after forcing his way into this team, a starting position as the standoff, and the guys had plenty of experience across there in England, but right now just getting a head massage from his wahine, and I think that's probably what's needed for a number of these players who gave their all out on the field today. But congratulations to them, Sean Clark, and also to Jeff Morton. Thanks for your contributions as coaches through season 2018, Wairangi, with another guest and perspective as sideline.
Well, brother, you're a couple of minutes away from moving on. Unfortunately, you couldn't get it. Must be still very proud of what the Tigers have achieved this year as a captain.
Yeah, mate. Extremely proud of the boys, the club. It's been a long time since we've been in this position. Unfortunately, we came up short. It's an 80-minute game, and just got pipped right at the end there. It's a tough pill to swallow, but very, very proud of the boys and the club for the whole season.
You had to battle for 80 minutes. I mean, I know what Howick's like. They just wear you down in the middle there, but you guys seem to have the gas in the end there, and like your fullback and your wingers did such a great job, and they really hung it in to get ahead with a couple of minutes to go. It was a great effort by the boys.
Our back three were awesome. A lot of work today. But yeah, it was a tough, very, very tough battle today, especially in the middle. We knew, Tones and Trent, those big boys in their middle were going to always come at us, so we got to be up for it. And I think we were, but right at the end, just got pipped at the end. I think Coley got that drop goal, and we had that little buffer for a couple of minutes, and just couldn't quite hold it. A couple of little errors. It's footy, in the day you just got to take it as it comes.
I suppose other than Moe, who is about 48 years old, it's a pretty young squad. So a good future ahead for the Northcote Tigers.
Yeah, I think the majority of the boys have been in this team for the last few years together. Moe, you know he's going to bring that experience. He's been here plenty of times, so we just had to take what he had on board. We've been together for a long time. We know how each other play, and yeah, we just got to take it on. We'll take this season as it was, and get ready for next year when that time comes.
Finally, mate, great support out here for the Tigers, who make appearance back in the finals again this year. That's you want to say anything to the Northcote Tigers supporters?
Just on behalf of the boys, it's massive to have every single game this year. We've had a lot of support every single game, whether it be away or whether it be home. We wouldn't be able to do what we do without all our supporters. We had a big bus come over today, and same story. We wouldn't have been able to do what we did today without them. Unfortunately, we couldn't do it for them today. So I'd like to thank our families, all our supporters, our club committee, our sponsors that kept us going all year, but also our coaches, Jeff Morton, Mike Phillips here, all our staff, Shane, Bun, physios, everybody. And just like to thank the boys, so we'll take it. We'll enjoy our season, bro, and get on with it.
Oh, unlucky, but well done for today, my lad. Enjoy the time off the week with the family.
Cheers, bro.
Thanks very much. Waitangi Korpu with a proud but disappointed captain of the Tigers. In the end, they had a chance. They just couldn't protect that slender lead in the last few moments of the outing. Well, I hope you enjoyed the action. From me, Dale Husband, and our co-commentator, Corey Rosser. Thanks very much for being part of the coverage of the minor elimination semi-final. Coming up, and just around the corner, it will be the Pirates and the Bears. But we'll wrap it up and remind you that the victors here and living to fight another day, the Howick Hornets. They beat the Tigers at Mount Smart 2 in the minor elimination semi-final, 22-17.
Can you bring it back when it's finished, please?
There he is, the beast. Epalahame Lauaki, how good was he last year in the grand final?
He's had a really good year as well. Iplahami Luaki managed to stay injury-free for the most part, but you're right, last year in that grand final, he was just about worth the price of admission on his own, wasn't he?
It was just an awesome solo effort last year. But everyone knows what they can expect from him now, so...
Where's your ball boy, baby?
Come back. Give me a new ball. You got a new one? You got another one there? Oh, they're gone.
Oh, yeah, sweet. I'm on it.
It's all right. All good.
Morning, baby. Morning.
How are you? Little boy Blue, come back here.
Kia ora and welcome to this game. It features the Bears against the Pirates to win it to the grand final of the Fox Memorial Championship for 2018. Ko Dale husband tēnei, and beside me Corey Rossa. Corey has been doing the commentary and the live stream through Auckland Rugby League's website through 2018. And Corey, the cream has risen to the top here. The Pirates and the Bears. Repeat of last year's grand final, and the Bears have been a formidable squad throughout season 2018, and they are thoroughly deserving of this opportunity to step forward through to the grand final for this year's Fox Memorial Championship. Let's have a look at the Glenora lineup with Corey Rossa.
Yeah, Plimasiaki, the fullback, the wingers, Taumata and Lua Falialo. Arlo and Brown are the centres, and on the halves, very experienced halves pairing Jordan Tolde and Philip Kingy. Tippins, Sorpol, Ryu Buchanan, Loaki, Hannum, and on the bench, Nicodemus Kavaliku, Kied, To Katalita, and Chase Bernard. That is how the team will lined up, coached by Bernie Perinara.
And Bernie's had such a wonderful contribution to the sport over the years. A very savvy coach. As we see the conditions in pretty good nick, although the wind will be at the back of the Pirates, and they line out as listed here. Tanuku and Solomona, Ledger, Fuimano, Jeremiah Pai and Tevan Arona, Daniel Palavi, Charlie Makawe, Tualima, Tuitama, Gavit, Sio, Tavita, Michael Key and Nathan Newton. There are a couple of late changes to that lineup as well for the Pirates. They are coached by Grant Pocklington. They've had a wonderful run of success. But they'll be up against it here against the Glenora team that are running hot. And when we say hot, we really mean that, don't we, Corey?
Yeah, that's right. They currently have all of the silverware bar the Stormont Shield in the cupboard at Harold Moody Park. And they've had a brilliant year this year. Runaway minor premiers. They won the Rukatai Shield really quite easily in the end. But the most impressive stat, I think, for Glenora, Dale, they concede 9.6 points on average so far this year. That's quite incredible, and it is no wonder they are in the position they are.
And sideline with us today, Wairangi Kopu, nei rata mihi kakwe, no ma harama noa, wai?
Tēnā kōrua, yeah, no mahoki mai ki tēnei o ngā kēmu. Yeah, ka tahi te kēmu, ka te haere ake. It's another brilliant encounter between these two as we see them face each other for the third time this year. One apiece throughout the regular season, and that was actually the only loss that Glenora had for the entire season. So they went 0-1, and then they've gone 17-0 since then. So this is a great matchup. Like you said, it's the grand final replay, and it's also the qualification replay from last year as well. So the winner of this one, like you said, going through to the grand final, and the loser will face the Māori Howick Hornets, who had that last-minute win.
They had a last-minute win over the Tigers, so they will set themselves up for a showdown against the loser of this game. But big ups as well to the Point Chevalier Pirates. They've had an up-and-down season by their high standards, but yet find themselves in the top 4, and in fact in the top 2 with the football. Dan Pallavi, he's been an inspirational prop and leader here for the Pirates, who now have the football. That's through Tevan Arona. He is in 6 today, Tevan, as we see from the far side, the Pirates making some inroads and threatening the Glenora line early on. And it comes to the back row. A little offload here for Pallavi, and a wall of Bears defenders are there. They're defending the eastern goal line here at Mount Smart number 2, threading the needle, the Pirates at the moment, and fielding it well on the outside too, is Malo Solomona playing in the right wing position today. I'm sorry, for the Bears, it's Simon Luafalealo playing in the right wing position. Simon, of course, with connections as well through to the Saints through his earlier playing days. And we'll play to Zach Tippins, again one of the top rakes in the country, out now to To'oalo, who carries it forward to the 20 metres.
Yeah, To'oalo, another one that's had a really good game this year, as we see Riulu Buchanan going a good run, but that left edge really is deadly for Glenora. They've scored so many of their points down that side of the field. To'oalo, a late call-up in the place of Elijah Sufia. He's a big in for the Bears.
So it's the Pirates who have the ball. Decent old chase as well from the big man. Napalahami Lauaki single-handedly monstered the Pirates in last year's grand final. The rivalry between these two teams is certainly taking on new dimensions. The Pirates have been the powerhouse of local rugby league over the past 4 or 5 years, taking that mantle away from the Mount Albert Lions, who enjoyed success regularly prior to the emergence here of this proud green and white club from Point Chevalier. And the Pirates, of course, with their 3 titles, and just going down last year onto the boot now of Tevan Arona, and taken at the back steadily by Siaki, who is in the number 1 jersey for Bernie Perenara. Straightened run by James Taumata. Plenty of pace, James, too, but not able to utilise it this time around, as the Pirates are moving up solidly and quickly in defence, including Nathan Newton, who makes that tackle. And the Bears sliding across. Defensive work for Dylan Tavita in jersey number 7 today.
Yeah, well and truly up for it, this Point Chevalier side today. They come into this game off back-to-back losses, but don't read too much into that. They have sort of shuffled that team around. They knew they probably couldn't go any higher than second, couldn't go any lower than second, so Coach Grant Pocklington just, I guess, measuring his side and making sure everyone's fit and firing come finals time. So they all hands on deck now as Saula Solomona that time is back to collect it. Of course, top try scorer in the Auckland competition in a number of the years and recent times. Such a good winger. Brings the ball back really well as well. Francis Ledger now jumps into dummy half.
I'm looking forward to seeing Francis. He's an entertaining player and a whole lot of strings to his bow. And there's Lauaki really enjoying his football as well. And well, we all saw just how good he is, and what a wrecking ball he can be when he's on song.
Yeah, indeed. Both these sides have got some really, some real explosive forwards and backs, and saying that as well. But it's going to be a real forward battle between these two teams out here today. You can already feel the contact down here on the sideline.
There's Ledger Michael Key too. Plenty of work for the 15 for the Pirates. Dummy half work for Saula. Cross onto the boot of Tavita. This is a tester at the back, taken in the end goal. And so the restart on the 20. And wanting to get on with that quickly is James Taumata. Does just that. So takes it to the 30 metres and a good beginning to the set for the Bears. Of course, when we look at Bernie Pittanutta and his successes across the years with numerous clubs and at the Māori Rugby League tournament annually, he's a pretty savvy coach, former New Zealand Māori coach as well. And he's got wonderful abilities of bringing on young talent and merging them with experience, as we see now a charging run from Shane Hannum. Slips on the deck here today. The wind certainly behind the Pirates at the moment, but the weather's been pretty kind here in Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland. A warm welcome to our viewers interested in the top echelon of the local rugby league club scene here in Auckland and indeed New Zealand, as Zach Tippins tries to weave some magic. Slipping and sliding his way through to the 20-metre line. Quick play the ball and pick up as Siaki grubbers into the end goal. It bounces off the pads, and he gets another chance to tackle without the ball. Referee Simon Taylor. He's assisted today by Warwick Freeman and Corey Jewell. Some questions here from big number 8. Let's have a look. So it's off the pads.
Yeah, sort of one of those collisions there where Siwa Tanuku sort of almost had to tackle on suspicion, given that if the ball had popped up, Siaki's in for a try there. So some off-the-cuff stuff there for Glenora, but back-to-back sets coming up as Bernard gets things back underway.
Chase Bernard, and a couple of metres out, who will draw first blood here today. 7 minutes in, winning to the grand final in a fortnight. Shuffling the ball through the hands, courier chain passing at the moment. Daniel Elu Buchanan is a very solid player and sensational in last year's grand final. This is Suapoi. He too is silenced 5 metres from the try line. The Bears are dangerous from close range, trying to get underneath. Elu Buchanan and the Pirates with some solid D as well, bundling him into touch in the corner.
Yeah, did really well to get there in numbers that time and close it down, and they do so much of their damage down this left edge, as we mentioned earlier, Glenora. So Point Chevalier clearly up to it there. We can see Tivna on it with a bit of claret already on the face there. The walking wounded early on in this one, but you mentioned Daniel really Buchanan had a great year last year and talked to a lot of the players in the Fox, and many believe he is the premier back rower in the competition. Of course, a product of the Wellington system originally, the Porirua Vikings, represented Akarana last year in the New Zealand residents. Played a fair bit of cup football for the Vodafone Warriors as well, so a really good young promising player is really Buchanan, and one to watch throughout this one.
Yeah, I really liked him last season, and you played plenty of back row yourself, Wairangi. Lots to like about young Daniel. Strengthening the hand for Bernie Pittanutta from out west. What do you make of his skill set, Wayne?
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, he looks like that enthusiastic youth that he's got on that left edge. It looks really good as we see a turnover from the Point Share Pirates. I'm going to say the good thing about him as well is he's got a very experienced Hameluaki on the other side who doesn't say much, but he leads by example, and so that's a great great thing to have, that combination between the back rows.
Here's Suapoi now, right in front of the post. He's only 6 metres out from the try line. Fed over by Tippins. Danger times here for the Pirates as the Bears threaten and start asking some questions of the Pirates defenders. Out to Phil Kingy, shuffling it. There's the line. I thought it opened up there for Chaz Brown, but he was denied an opportunity. In fact, passing off the ground is the call here from referee Taylor. So a fundamental error for the Bears, and an opportunity to draw first blood is denied them.
Yeah, not sure if there was a bit of miscommunication there in the end, but it certainly did look like the tackle was completed, and Brown gets up and manages to offload there. He's had a good year, Chaz Brown, come across from the Mount Albert Lions, where he sort of played mostly a utility forward role last year, but has scored a number of tries this year, actually the second highest try scorer in the Auckland comp. So he's having a good year out on that right edge for the Bears.
Speaking of Bears, they're having a few of them out at the Gleneden RSA right now, and the Glenora Bears supporters are being supported by Bears, it would seem. G'day to Joe and the team out there. And wherever you're watching, a warm welcome. Māori Television, Auckland Rugby League, pleased to be live streaming this action. The top tier of Club Rugby League in New Zealand. Lua Falealo trying to probe and find a way through that, rolling to his feet. Out it comes now for Loaki. Makoe, the skipper for the Pirates, is there to halt his run. And now with the ball is Bernard. He manages to get the pass away cleverly to Tuare, who sees it on the middle for Raulu Buchanan. He's only 10 metres out from the try line, Daniel, when he gets himself to his feet. They'll go the short side. The pop ball on the inside for Siaki is threatening for the Pirates, but he comes up just a metre short and will earn a penalty to boot. So 8 minutes gone, no scoreline as these two teams go into the arm wrestle, which is to be expected in the early exchanges. It's an opportunity for two. Are they considering that at the moment, or just working out their strategies? Zach Tippins with the tap on the 10. Graham Suapoe looks to spin, roll, and maybe pop the ball, but pressure on him. Sees him change his mind and go to ground with the leather. It's used well through Shane Hannum and now Siaki, but the pass wide goes awry. And the Pirates celebrate and will get possession through a scrum feed 15 metres from their own line.
Yeah, Glenora just guilty of lacking a little bit of patience there. You can see it's a backline movement here, and Siaki throws it across the face, but wouldn't have minded seeing them just take a couple in the middle of the park there and let the big boys do some work first. Plema Siaki's had a really good year this year, represented Auckland earlier against the Tonga New Zealand residents. Another one that's a part of that Warriors wider New South Wales Cup squad. So Point Chevalier now to pack down young Dylan Tavita, still a teenager. He's done a brilliant job this year leading the side around. Hasn't played all the games, Dylan Tavita, but has really stood up when called on. And for a 19-year-old, handled himself with really impressive composure.
Well, we know that Whiting has run out with this Pirates squad not so long ago, to be honest. Why? You might just remind our viewers as well about your long-standing connections to the Pirates.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough that Stacey Jones and Arwen Gutenbill took reins there when the Pirates are going through a real tough patch. They hadn't won a game in a couple of seasons, actually, and so they took the reins there when the Pirates were in Fallon. And I just happened to come back from the Premiership winning Melbourne Storm side and slot straight into a third grade Point Chevalier Pirates side alongside Monty Beethan, Carlton Nana, All Black Sevens legend, Stacey and Owen. So we had a fairly good squad that year for third division domestic rugby league.
I reckon. And look what has happened. It's morphed into this amazing run of success, and it's breathed new life into what was a struggling club. And I say struggling mainly to do with the changing demographics of the suburb that Point Chev run out of. And of course fewer kids and not as big a families as in past. So it's been a magnificent run of events, and awesome to witness over the years as we see the Pirates just trying to create some problems. But Siaki has been very solid at the back and manages to find his way forward to the 20-metre line before he's wrapped up by the Pirates' defence. They'll offload it now to Lua Falealos, getting himself involved early, and again the Pirates forced to get into defensive mode. Working hard there is Danny Pallavi. And now the Bears just only a few metres away from halfway, so a good set for them. Big Suapa Kavaliku has the football right now. Looking forward to seeing the best of him. Big ups to the Glenora Bears supporters. Very proud of the success from last season and building on it this year with this amazing run. Here is Zach Tippins, now into the hands of Kingy. He'll punch it over and hopefully elude the fullback, but Utanuku, the seasoned campaigner, and comes up with the football before slipping and being wrapped up by Raulu Buchanan as the Pirates retreat and try and rebuild now from 15 out from their line.
Yeah, great to see Siwa Otanuku back on the field as well. He technically retired at the end of last year. That lasted all of about 10 games from memory, and he was back sighted playing reserves for Point Chevalier before coming back into the Fox fold. As we see a ripped jersey there. Hami Luaki, I think, who's ripped it, and does have a little history with this Hami Luaki. He ripped Daniel Pallavi's jersey earlier in the year. It meant Point Chevalier played most of this year without a number 8 jersey, so I dare say the accounts lady won't be too happy with that one. Another ripped jersey. Send the invoice Hami's way.
Well, it's a Hulk-like image when you take the green and white away.
Boys, I tried to rip my jersey on purpose when I was playing.
Mind you, you used to wear the jerseys from the minors, didn't you? Because they'd hug you so tight there, my old mate. He's the number one. He's played strong so far. Pull him up. Siaki, you've seen him a few times through 2018, Corey. Just he's got a solid way about him, the fullback for the Bears.
He does indeed. Doesn't make many mistakes at all, Plima Siaki, and also chimes in nicely into this backline, combines well with Tolde and Phil Kingy as well. So he's had a really good season. Siaki, watch out for him to have an impact as this game goes on. Of course, once that forward pack gets going for Glenora, they're very hard to stop, and their skill guys can cause some damage off the back of it.
Shane Hannum to play the ball a couple of metres inside the Pirates' territory. A step back on the inside for Bernard. Doesn't pay dividends, although he does pick up a few metres. Lakini Gavay is the tackler there as well. So the Bears with it. On to 2 at 8. And he'll put it deep where it's taken nicely. Ball to Nuku. Play on, says the referee, and some skillful work. The former Bay Ross, well, I say former because it was a number of years ago now, fullback. He's been a Pirate for some time. You can see that it's all on in there at the moment. The Bears will be wanting to book their spot in the final. So will the Pirates, of course. On to Francis Ledger. He can really make defensive lines pay too, and he gets a hit of steam up, Francis. Strong. Dan Pallavi, former captain of the under-20s. Was it Dan who was studying medicine there for a time, Corey?
Yeah, brother John, the doctor, Dr. John. He's playing over in the Queensland Cup right now. I understand captaining his side over there. Capras, maybe. In fact, actually, North Devils is John Plavi's team. So a really good local family. Of course, both come through the Auckland system. Daniel Plavi, well, I rate him as one of the best players in Auckland. So consistent. Comes across from Mount Albert this year, and he's been huge for Point Chevalier.
Well, people want to play with winners, and they're certainly proving to be that, the Glenora Bears. Just the one loss in 2018, which is an amazing performance, is it not? As mentioned by Wyatt Corey. They dropped their first game, but have not lost since. Here's Kavaliku. He's good to watch too. They're full of enterprise and confidence at the moment, the Bears, and they're giving the ball air. This is always a dangerous proposition for defending squads. The kick will hold up there, and a little problematic for Tunuku, but again, he shows great skills. And slides in to take that. The plum. Loake across the top. 0-0. Just about 18 minutes gone. We knew it would be tight. I would have expected, though, that somebody would have crossed or kicked for goal by now. 0-0. 15 on the boilers, Michael Key. Latu. He too has been a very solid performer here for the Pocklingtons, and an opportunity opens up for Dylan Tavita. He's to his feet. Latu, Key. Coming in late and hard is Hannum. Key plays it centre field, just outside the 30. Bears end of the ground. Wind behind the Pirates. Tester wide, and a steady hand on show as well from Lua Falialo.
Yeah, keen to test out the back three early on. Point Chevalier, a number of high balls already. So far all cleaned up nicely by Siaki and Lua Falialo, but it's a very similar style game, Dale, to that of round one when Nora, they went down 11 points to 10 to Point Chevalier. There was a real long sort of feeling out period in the early game where the two middles just went at each other. So interesting to see how long this lasts for before someone finds a breakthrough.
You know, it's high quality and, well, not mistake-free, but certainly few errors in the opening exchanges, Wairagi.
Yeah, it's a hell of a battle through the middle there. It's both sides just keep pressuring each other, and there's, like you say, very little errors. There was a few earlier on from Point Chev, but to be honest, the battle through the middle is what's winning at the moment. And as you can see, both sides are just waiting for the other team to crack, and maybe that little mistake there from Glenora is what Point Chev needs to kick on with some points.
Who are you looking at as being the dominant influences in their game. Why?
I don't think you can go past the size of the Glenora pack. It's absolutely huge. You've just got Suapoet, who went off the field. Kavaliku's just joined in. Hameluaki is, you know, he's a man mountain out there as well. But what comes with that size is a lot of pressure through the middle for Point Chev, but also it's a lot of gas expended throughout this game. So maybe the Point Chev Pirates are hoping to just try and wear them down as much as possible, and towards the back end of the game, come home with it.
Thank you, Wairangi Kōpū, the Kiwi international NRL player. And of course now co-host of Crowd Goes Wild, among other roles that he fulfills. Tight t-shirt wearer of yesteryear. Hey, what? Across we come through Danny Palavi, and out now into the hands of Lakini Gave. Forgive me if you prefer it pronounced Gavet. I've heard it many different styles. Gave seems to have a nice ring for me.
Yeah, it's one of those names where you're right, there are several different pronunciations, so I guess depending if you're feeling French or not on the given day, Gave, Gavet. Anyway, he's had a good year, Lakini.
Oui, monsieur. Well, here's a hole and almost a shot, but a beautiful cross-the-top defensive effort by Siaki. Here's Davida Latu, who delivers up and down the right side. Goes Malo Solomona.
Yep, and there's your veteran connection. Tavita Latu picks the perfect option there, and Malo Solomona, he knew it was coming, finishes nicely in the corner. There's good stuff there from Point Chevalier. There's our breakthrough. Malo Solomona, Richmond Junior, of course played NRL with the New Zealand Warriors, scored 5 tries in one game against the Canterbury Bulldogs. A fairly long time ago now, back in 2008 or 2007, but you can just see here, Tavita Latu, well, there was never any doubt where he was going there. Solomona did well, kept his width, scores in the corner, and the Pirates strike first. They come off a match where they were well beaten by Glenora last time. 34-14 on that occasion. So a positive start, very important. There's Grant Pocklington on screen. Coached Auckland this year, of course, was the man who really led them through the start of this dynasty. Stepped aside for a short time where son Zane Pocklington stepped up, but Grant back at the helm now. A very handy man to have calling the shots.
Well, Bernie will be disappointed because, as you mentioned, that was almost an expected play from Tavita. Tavita Latu always looking for that short side opportunity. I'd like to acknowledge Malo Solomona as well, his contribution to the local footy scene. You know, for many players who get a sniff at opportunity, they decide to stay home and mow lawns. Well, others will come back and play suburban footy, and Malo, you'll recall, I think, was knocking at the door of an NRL career and didn't quite get there, but he's been playing local footy proudly too for a number of seasons. Warren Freeman waves that one away behind the post, but he's a wonderful finisher. Malo Solomona improving there with a 4-0 lead now for the Pirates over the Bears after 20-odd minutes. And you're watching the major semi-final. Winner straight through to the grand final. Bit of a nip in the air at the moment in Tamaki Makaurau. There's Malo and his cuzzies on the other side. It's Solomona. They've been wonderful contributors as a whānau, the Solomona clan, to the local league scene. Big ups to Dave too, be watching in. And the list of Solomonas that have played the game is very lengthy as the Pirates get hold of the football. 23 gone, it's 4-0. You're watching the action live streamed on aucklandleague.co.nz and MaoriTelevision.com. Dale Husband with Corey Rossler, sideline Wairangi Kōpū. Thanks for your interest in this countdown to the big one for local club rugby league in Auckland. It's the Pirates with the ball. It's Tavita Latu who darts out of dummy half and pokes his head underneath tackles. Has always got his hands available to pop the pass. If it's on, out to Palavi. Big Dan is wrapped up by Shane Hammond, who always works hard on defence. I'll tell you what you won't be getting from Bernie Pittanata, though, is panic. He's been through a lot of footy as we see the talents here of the number 7, Dylan Tavita. Looking for a bit of a rebound play that You see the Pirates in possession. Slow to get back at the moment, the Bears. They'll steady themselves on the far side with a run from To'alo. He's got plenty of speed if he can find his way into space this time around. Chase Bernard. Crowd giving referee Simon Taylor plenty, saying that the Pirates are offside. As the name would imply, though, they're quite okay to break rules from time to time. On the far side, the try scorer, Solomona, turns up. Thought about linking with Otunuku. He'll hit up this time.
See Chris Seal back on the field as well. He's had a lengthy layoff with injury, but he's been one of their best players this year, Chris Seal. He's so important to this side, really ties together the middle defensively, so he needs to have a big game for the Pirates. Short side, big man, charging run.
Oh, lovely to watch. That's terrific. Bakaswalasi Afu, or Paki Afu. Nathan Newton. Good momentum build. Back it comes to Afu. And he and Loaki combine, like shifting tectonic plates. Down the left-hand edge they come, and the ball's flicked out the back. Here is Latu once again. Drizzles it, if I can use the term, along the ground.
Yeah, play sort of just broke down a little bit there for Point Chevalier, but how good to have Paki Afu back in this competition. He comes back from a stint in Utah with the Utah Warriors in the rugby union competition over in the US. He has picked up a number of Player of the Day votes in the last couple of weeks. As we see, penalty blown there, a high shot by the look on To'oalo. Glenora to get the penalty.
You're no small guy, Wairangi, but Big Paki would dwarf you, I guess.
Yeah, he's a man mountain, and you're right. When those two boys came together, and Afu and Lawaki, it was, I'm pretty sure that's how planets were made. Just two colliding bodies. It's going to be a hell of a battle out here. Big Hamet, he's he's a little bit bigger than when he was playing in the NRL, so he's blown a bit out that side, but I know the leader he is. He's trying to inspire this right edge.
It'll be interesting. He played a full game, didn't he, in the grand final last year? And Bernie he's got some interesting tactics and how he utilises his interchange bench. And I just wonder how long he'll keep Big Harmy out there.
Yeah, and he's so imposing. I think that's the thing. He's got this aura about him. We know his sort of history, Hame, and so every time he gets to the ball or whenever there's an opposing player that's running towards him, they just try and avoid him as much as possible because they know that he's going to rough him up a little bit.
Sure. So if you were running at him, you'd probably change direction, wouldn't we, Corey?
Yep, and no doubt about that as Tolson Caird takes the ball forward.
Inside ball, Siaki's there. Siaki is there, and that is one that goes begging. That's one that got away for the Bears. I thought Siaki's been so good, and this time around a pretty straightforward pass, it seemed, but it just did not stick. It was 4 points that will go begging. There's the inside ball. The line was open. He says, oh, fudge. Loaki staring across into the Pirates pack. I think he's trying to find someone worthy of his aggression.
Yeah, Glenora, they'll be enjoying this. They know that a few weeks ago it was Hami Loaki who really set the tone for them in that big win over Point Chevalier. And as Wairangi quite rightly pointed out, he's an intimidating figure, not just physically, but also when you think about the levels he's played at and the things he's achieved. Of course, a Kiwi international and a Hatema'a Tonga player as well. So Hami there just getting a quick talking to from referee Taylor. So Glenora, well, it's been a bad 2 minutes for them. They blow that try and then compound it with an error. Point Chevalier, they'll get a piggyback out of trouble here.
I recall last year when Hami won the grand final, Corey, the emotions just flooded out from him. And, we didn't delve into it too much, but suffice to say that he found quite a lot of solace in the suburban environment and the team environment that was created in Glenora. And irrespective of the high-quality comps you played in, sometimes, park footy and good blokes in your team can just, really be the ticket. And I'm pleased to see him back this year. To be honest, I thought that he might have wrapped it up at the end of 2017, but he's back again, and he's playing as strong a hand this season as last. And there he is in the thick of things once again. Looking for somebody to dismember, or perhaps some opportunity to decapitate. But I'm being a bit facetious there. He's a good guy and just loves all that hard footy. Look at him, he's coming again. Putting on a bit of swisho. The big fella will get up. I don't think he'll be too intimidated by Army's ways. Kick into the end goal. Will it sit up? No, it won't.
Execution just a little bit off there, but they did have Solomona screaming down the side there, so watch out for that play to come up again as this game goes on. But I tell you what, Luaki versus Afu, well, it just kicked off a little bit there, and I'm sure we will see it once again. So that's going to be a thrilling battle down that edge of the field. See a brilliant run there from Riley Buchanan.
He's very good, and I see Tolson Caird has made his way on again as well. So this is him with the football. A skillful player, big heart, big engine, and it's really starting to unfold here, isn't it? No love lost between these two squads. Gary Fumwano is penalised, just laying over Caird a little bit too much, putting a bit more work in than referee Taylor will accept. Here's Caird once again, solid D coming in left, right and centre. The hits are big. Hope you're enjoying the action here as Kavaliku decides to up the ante. 20 metres out from the line, just maybe a couple of metres to the left-hand side of the posts. Here come the Bears, and Siaki, his intentions well read. Turai Caird. He's home, down. Oh, Tavita Latu is the man penalised. I'm not quite sure I agree with that, but it wouldn't matter if I did or didn't, to be honest.
Yeah, Tolson Caird, he has been very busy since coming onto the field, just earns his team 2 penalties in the space of as many minutes, and all of a sudden, Glenora right on the attack.
Look out to the right-hand side. It's Kingy first. Out the back door for Siaki. Waits it nicely for Chaz Brown, who is halted, but only a metre or so away from the try line. Ledger, they're intertwined. Can't extricate themselves as they do now. Nice pick up by Kingy. At the back is Hannum. Will he try to offload? He won't. He's to ground now. Big chance for the Bears. You've got to think they're in with a big opportunity now as Tuatai puts it into the end goal. It's tapped across the dead ball line too. The Pirates forced to do just that. High quality game, 8 to play till half time. Just 1 try in at Mother Solomona. In the 20th minute, it's 4-0. And you're watching the major semi-final, winner to the grand final in a fortnight.
Boys, just quickly, Apolima Siaki on this side. He's really struggling, the fullback for Glenora. He came out of a tackle a little bit worse for wear, and looks like the trainer's looking at his shoulder.
Thank you. Dr. Korpu, I presume.
It's a grade 3 rotator cuff meniscus, I think it is.
Oh, thank you.
Beautifully explained there, White, as referee Taylor makes his way out. But just on that last play there, you wonder if Glenora might have been better served to go through the hands, send big Riley Buchanan at them from close range. Instead, they get the little kick through. And we touched on it earlier in the first game. These short in goals, very, very tricky for kickers. Come late in the tackle count now as Tolson Caird winds up for another carry.
And a good one again, as we've come to expect from Big Tolson. Quick play the ball, 25 metres out from the line. Hannum is the first receiver. He'll be content with a settler and to ground on the 20. The Pirates, they'll have to shore up their D. Here comes Big Graham. You can hear the bang on Tavita Latu, then an up and drive as well. Suapue to Tippins. Tippins across. First receiver is Hannum. Tuatai with it. Thought about the inside ball for Siaki. And that is deemed to be shepherding. Using your own man to create an advantage.
And it was that play that we saw earlier, Dale, with Siaki coming off the shoulder of Tuatai, but it just broke down once again. It looks threatening, but the execution a little way off, and This time it'll result in a penalty in possession. Tavita kicks the ball to touch.
Look on the inside, not much in that. The Pirates, though, survive and they're up. But certainly not enough to give anyone any confidence that they've got enough to go on with it. 4 points is all we are talking of. It's tit for tat. It's hell for leather. It's bang on bang. And I hope you're enjoying the action here on the ARL website, Auckland Rugby League. Done a fabulous job of live streaming the action from the Fox in 2018. Big ups to Troy Hardy as well. He's been really overseeing that part of ARL's mucky this year. And of course, now as owners of the Warriors, it's an exciting time for Auckland Rugby League. 30 from the line now. Down the short side they go, the Pirates. Onto the boots of Teven, Arona. This time the bounce favours the Bears. Always a chance. If it lands on the point of the ball, the coming back at you. We've seen that last night on the NRL as well.
Really good quality game, boys. And like I said earlier, the wind's still at the back of the Point Chev Pirates. It's dropped off a little from this morning, but I tell you what, I think the kicking decisions need to be a little bit better from Arona, especially the penalties out of their own half. Twice now he's just sort of looked for these little short kicks to the sideline, where I really feel like he probably could be picking up a lot of meters and getting his team out of trouble earlier.
Waitangi Kopu with our sideline from the famous Kopu clan. Where's your bro now? Why he was a Pirate as well, Tama? Is he running around the Newcastle comp now?
Yeah, the local game in Newcastle, the Western Rosellas, he's travelling for, which is, yeah, they're going pretty well this year. He was lucky enough to be selected for a Newcastle representative side, and then out of that game against Country Rugby League in New South Wales, he got selected for New South Wales to go on and play against the Queensland Cup domestic side, which is a bit of an honour, although he was excluded from the family for that short period of time because we're heavy Queensland fans.
Fair enough too. And we completely understand. Semi-final action. Fox Memorial Championship, the pinnacle of Club Rugby League in Auckland, and many say in New Zealand, as we see Raleigh Buchanan. He's not used to being hit as solidly and as regularly as is occurring here. The Pirates are really ripping into their work here today. The Glenora Bears fans say that there are untoward activities going on in the background. The referee says, I'll go with it. Simon Taylor is letting it roll. 4-0 as we count it down towards half-time. Tolson Kidd looks to probe through the middle and find an opportunity. At the moment, though, the defence has been solid. That's hit the referee. Well, he couldn't remove himself, really. The Bears fans will say, you've denied us an opportunity. How did you read that, Why?
Yeah, I'm not sure of the ruling. I actually thought that the ball goes back to the kicking side, but the referees have ruled that, seeing it's the ball's hit our referee, it's going to Point Chev at this side, which is probably a little bit fortunate for the Pirates.
Maybe it was last tackle, was it, Corey?
Yeah, it wasn't quite around what exactly went on there as well, and similar to Why, not too sure of the exact ruling, but I guess at the end of the day, all that matters is it looks like we've got a Point Chevalier feed.
I remember back in the day, in the NRL day, the last tackle, kickers used to look for the referees to try and hit them, because it used to be a repeat set.
Yeah, no, that'd be right too, as we saw a glimpse of Petanala. As mentioned, you won't get panic signs from Bernie. You wouldn't want to convey that message to his charges and say, steady hand, boys. I know it sounds cliched and at times moronic, but we must trust our processes and our systems, and we'll come away with the 2 points. What do you think Tavita Latu offers for Pocklington? Well, that was a forward pass he offered up then, but it's not one of his best when he comes onto the field, Waitangi.
Just experience. for a long time, he's probably lost a little bit of that pace, because he used to recognise very quickly when markers were down, and he used to get a lot of metres through the middle there, as we've seen this year with the likes of Isaac Luke with the Warriors. He's that mould of player. He is very tough in that middle on defence as well. We've already seen him trying to put shots on Suapoe at stages. You know, he's all of 85 kilos, but he throws his body weight around. He must be pushing around 36, I reckon, Tavita Latu. So just a bit of experience and a level head.
You feel as though the Bears are not far off getting back into this. They're really testing the defensive lines, and here's Loaki steadying them to the 10-metre line. You feel that the Pirates have been under a lot of pressure, and it won't be too long before the Bears are able to bust through. Chaz Brown's just out from the try line. Out wide as we count it down. Remember, what you're seeing here on your website is in fact the clock from the broadcast van. It's not tied up to the official timepiece sideline, so there may be some discrepancies there with the clock having stopped and the like. When it comes to 40, though, we'll disregard the clock here. Well, we're pretty accurate towards each other. A very intriguing and entertaining first half of football. It has been tough, but at half-time, just the one try to Malo Solomona after the 20th minute. It is the Pirates who lead the Bears here 4-0 at half-time. Well, Corey Rossa, I'm not quite sure how you've seen most of the games between these two teams through 2018. Does a 4-0 scoreline surprise you at the halftime break?
Yeah, not really. I sort of assumed that these two teams would really go at each other in the middle of the park, and that's been the case, although probably in the last 10 minutes we have seen a lot of that sting disappear there. Some of the forward battles have sort of died down a little bit. Don't get me wrong, there's still been some big contact in the middle, but we're probably starting to see them play a little bit more footy, and that's what we want to see. There's no point in either side really getting into a competition of, you know, who's bigger in the middle of the park, because they've got skilled players everywhere, but certainly echoing your thoughts from the back end of that first half there, Dale, it did feel like Glenora was starting to find their way into that one a little bit and starting to get some domination in the middle of the park. Jordan Tuare's been having a really good game so far. He's threatened to link up with Plema Siaki on a number of occasions, so it'll be interesting to see if anything comes of that as we see the replay of the sole try from the first half, and it was really just a heads-up play from Tavita Latu, hands it off to Malo Solomona to score the only try of the first half.
I notice down there and running the water at the moment, Jeremiah Pye. What's the situation there with Jeremiah?
Yeah, he's featured a number of times in the Fox team this year, Jeremiah Pye, tending to replace Dylan Tavita. So he's sort of one of those players that's in and out of the squad. He's still playing really good football as well, so great that he's still around the squad and able to contribute from a cultural point of view. And we can see there in the stats on screen, the Point Chevalier Pirates with the possession advantage, but interestingly the Glenora Bears with the territory advantage. And, in terms of tackles made and missed tackles, all fairly even there, and the stats probably reflecting the scoreline so far, Dale.
Yes, indeed, 4-0 and 5-3 penalties, so he's letting the game get some flow on to Simon Taylor. When we look, Corey, at some of the big matchups here today, it's almost like the forward packs have been nullifying each other. Big units, your Loaki, I'm always expecting Raulu Buchanan to break the line, but there have been some fine individual performances right across the park during that first 40.
Yeah, absolutely, and the middle battle very evenly contested, and you're right, there's no clear sort of advantage so far in that one. I thought Pakiafu has really changed the game since he came onto the field. Number of big carries there, and he's of course coming up against Hami Luaki, but also Shane Hannum, who was probably the smallest middle forward on the park today. He's been very good. He's got about his defence very well and had some big carries there. Caleb Ueli's one to watch on the bench. He's put in some 80-minute performances for Glenora this year. Son of Ross Ueli, the assistant coach of the Bears. He came through the Avondale College system. He's the brother of Braden Ueli, who is over at the Cronulla Sharks right now. So he's a really good young prop forward who they've used on and off this year. It'll be interesting to see him get a run there.
I know we've got Wailangi. I don't know if you're listening into us, Wai. I can see you down there sort of near the huddles, but maybe you're able to report back something of what you've heard. How for Kano?
Kia ora, rawe tēnei wāhanga tuatai roto I tēnei ngā whiringa whānui. It's been a hell of a battle, that first half, and you can hear the Glenora Bears are actually really reveling in it. They actually really enjoy the battle that they're getting in that first half. They think it's really enjoyable. So I'm looking towards that side and thinking to myself, they're really going to come out in the second half and enjoy this real battle with the Point Shift Pirates. The Pirates, on the other hand, they recognise that this win might have a little bit of a value for the Glenora Bears in the second half. They underutilised it a little bit, but they know that they're doing a good job on those big boys in the Glenora Bears as well. They've shut down Hameluaki fairly well in that first half, and I know they want to keep on with that battle. And I think that's going to be half the battle won for them. If they can shut down those big boys from Glenora through the middle and win that battle through the middle of the ruck, they'll go a good way to winning this game.
Thanks very much, Whiting. And Corey, when we just think about that, so the forwards appear to be nullifying each other. I've been half expecting the fullback Siaki to slide through. He just seems to be very threatening. But if, for instance, this continues into the second half and the packs effectively negate each other's efforts, it's going to look wide. Who are you looking forward to, and which battles and matchups do you think might be the telling factors out on the back line?
Yeah, I think you start to look obviously at the little men, and we've probably seen more from the Glenora little men so far. Siaki and Tore, who have touched on. Zach Tippins as well. Watch him around dummy half. He's certainly a very experienced customer, and he knows how to dictate the pace of the game. But I'm looking forward as well to seeing perhaps what Tiva Norona can do. Obviously, he's played at those higher levels with the New Zealand Warriors New South Wales Cup side, knows how to handle himself on these occasions. So I think if those little men sort of come into the game there again, they're very well matched across the park. So some intriguing battles there. I think the second half might be a little different. Hopefully we start to see the ball thrown around a little bit more. There's some interesting stats as well on Glenora. They averaged 31.3 points scored so far this year. It's the best attack in the Fox. The one time they've scored less than 16 points this year, it was their sole loss, 11-10 to Point Chevalier. So certainly a team that can score points, and when they do go below that 16 mark, well, 0 from 1.
Well, let's pay tribute then to the defensive work of the Pirates through that first 40 to keep a team that's scoring on average 31 points a game scoreless in the first 40 is a remarkable effort. And that will build on the frustration that the West Aucklanders feel, and perhaps they might start making some mistakes. Of course, there's two bites at the cherry here for these two proud clubs, the mighty Bears, passion, pride and respect. What a wonderful story it's been. It's not the first time they've been Fox champions, far from it, but it's a long time between drinks. I must acknowledge the 250 club over there of guys who are proudly old boys from the Glenora Bears. They chip away each week with just a little contribution into a kitty, and they're able to achieve great things at that club. And I know that part of the success they're enjoying comes off the back of those old timers, the grizzly old cats from Glenora that we know like to watch them. And there's a few of them at Gleneden RSA right now too. We'd be a little bit concerned because the Bears have been the dominant force for the entire season. Now, see the Bears supporters, they came through midweek and painted the seats blue. Did you notice that touch?
Very clever. Good to mention the work being done at the Glenora Club, Dale, and a shout out to the club. They organised a Luke Tippany charity dinner this year, raised a whole lot of money for the Luke Tippany Trust, which supports aspiring young athletes, particularly out of West Auckland, who want to go on to, I guess, bigger and better things, and whether that be tournament entry fees or getting some gear. So they're doing some wonderful stuff off the field as well, social responsibility, I guess we would call it. So shout out to Aaron Conlon and co. Also keeping the memory of Luke Tippany alive, of course. Life tragically lost a few years ago, but it's brilliant to see that some positive work has been done by the Bears through the Trust.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you, Corey. Thanks for reminding us of it. And the fans from Point Chev, so enamoured with their squad, they came and painted the grass green just for this game. So there we are, the Glenora Bears supporters in the blue seats and the green grass of Point Chev.
And just as we wait for the second half to get back underway, I do want to give a big shout out to SAS Sport, the principal sponsors of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. Been with us for a number of years now, to bring the First Division and the College Rugby League this year. So a big thank you to SAS as we get back underway off the boot of Phil Kingy.
And it's taken deep. Who will falter first? Who will earn the right to go straight through to the final? The Pirates Tualima with the first carry. Francis Ledger. We'll get some more thoughts from Wailangi because while he was talking with us, he was also able to wander over and get a little bit more inside oil as to what some of the approaches might be here in the second 40. The big unit is back on again. This is Pakiafu. Love seeing his carry. And they've got a role to play, haven't they? Asofa Solomona again with the Melbourne Storm genuine size, and of course they carry 2, 3, sometimes 4 defenders with them each time they cart the ball forward. There's another 3 out of the line, leaving only 10, so the quick play of the ball can be really advantageous. An awkward little kick through to the back. It's taken there by Siaki. Steady hand and wrapped up in the tackle of Gave. What else were you able to hear at halftime, Mike?
I suppose the chat and the and recognition of where the dangers are for the Point Shift Pirates. That's what I came out of the Glenora Bears. I heard through the first half, every time that Pakiafu might have been getting the ball or was looking to get the ball, they were dropping his name. And so they recognise how valuable Paki's go forward is to the Point Shift Pirates. I'm pretty sure they'll try and muscle up on him a little bit more. He's done a very good job in that first set of 6 to get the Pirates on the front foot. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see some of these smaller guys come into play around the 60-minute mark.
Decent kick there from Saki and well wrapped up by his opposite number, Tanuki. Solomona with the ball on the 20, and what advantage there might have been with the quick play is quickly negated. 32 metres out, Francis Ledger. Hasn't had enough of the football, I think, Francis, for such a talented athlete. He really needs to be given some clean ball and some open space for him to show his wares as well as they're able. It's a nice little late offload here. The Pirates making some inroads, this time through Dylan Tavita, who's put away 40 metres out from the Glenora line.
An interesting point you make about Francis Ledger. I've seen him used at 5'8" a number of times over the past 2 seasons, and I really like him there. He's able to get involved quite often as well. The centre's obviously a little harder to get that regular involvement, as we see a spilt ball there and go back to pack down a scrum.
So Pakiafu, I'm assuming by what you say that he's a Mormon just back from Utah.
Yep, Pakiafu, he actually went off on a Mormon mission at one point there, spent a couple of years abroad, of course, was very close to cracking the NRL. He went over with the Sydney Roosters and played some footy with the Wyong-Roos. It wasn't to be at the end of the day, but just watching some of his highlights from the work he's been doing over in the US, he's in great shape, Paki. He's playing in the back line, believe it or not, in rugby union, causing some real damage over there in that competition, but it's great to have him back. It's just a couple of seasons ago, he was arguably the best forward in the whole competition. So Paki coming back a timely manner to boost this Point Chevalier side. They also got Tuilima back as well from a stint in France.
Just letting you know, Corey's been calling a lot of the action for the ARL live streams, a qualified journalist, and so he's big on sourcing the backgrounds of some of these guys. To be honest, mate, I wouldn't have thought there'd be a lot of rugby in Utah, but there you go. I suppose you've got a lot of expat Kiwis and Pacifica people who are with the LDS, as we see a little opportunity now, and screaming down the outside is Brown. Chaz Brown thinking about popping the pass, he wisely didn't. It wasn't on anyway, and that's a good tackle as well. That's on Luafalealo. The Bears with a chance. Kingy now out to Siaki. Siaki spies an opening, and then Siaki loses the ball. What's the ref call? Let's have a bit of a, well, we can't listen. Who's he want to talk to here, Corey?
Yeah, looks like it's a penalty to Glenora. It may have got a high shot here on Plima Siaki. Referee Taylor calling out Tavita Latu and Siwa Tanuku. I think just saying, let's just calm it down a little bit there. It looked likely for a minute there, Siaki, when he broke through the initial line and shook off a couple. So penalty to Glenora, 10 metres out from the line. This will be a tap and go, you would think.
Zach Tippins has the ball. Here he comes. It's Graham Suapoya. It's going to be all on in this set too. The Bears Alive out wide, angled run from Raleigh Buchanan. He can't breach the Pirates' defence. He's about 8 metres out from the try line. Big chance for the Bears. Here comes Chase Bernard, and Bernard is in there. He rips the Pirates apart, and he's in to score beside the post. Well, 3 holes to dig, and in we go. The Bears, well, it seemed only a matter of time, Corey.
Yep, something had to give there, and in the end, it's the back-to-back sets that get the better of Point Chevalier. It was nice work from Bernard, the little show, the little go, and then just in the end ends up running over the top of them, scores under the post, hits back. Glenora should take the lead with the kick in front. They've been building pressure for a long time. The back end of the first half, probably the final 10 minutes, it was the Glenora Bears who were looking in control and starting to win that battle, and they get their breakthrough via Chase Bernard. Got a relation, a cousin, I believe, Kurt Bernard, that was a big part of the team last year as well. Chase has featured for most of the season. Now Phil Kingy to prepare the conversion from right in front.
Remember, they do have the wind at their backs. The Glenora Bears here in the second 20. Tevita Latu will be feeling a little bit hard done by referee Taylor's decision to award the penalty at close range after deeming his shot on Raleigh Buchanan high. Kingy makes no mistake, 6-4 scoreline. Remember the winner through to the grand final for 2018. Sideline with you, Wairangi.
Yeah, there is no substitute for running hard, boys, and that's exactly what Chase Bernard did. He got that ball cutting back on the inside, and he just split those 2 big forwards of the Point Chev Pirates. It was a great run. These Pirates, now they're going to have to gather themselves because the Glenora Bears are starting to kick up a little bit of momentum.
Raising the dust, the Bears. You can smell the salmon. So, the Pirates with the restart. 20 metres out from the try line. Just steady their hands here and look for a decent set. So important off the back of a scoring set to control and then get to the back end and a decent kick, Corey.
Absolutely, and this kick needs to find touch, or at the very least find grass, and just allow them to pinpoint Chevalier down that end of the field. As we see Suapoi now carry forward. He's been very effective in his 2 stints. Of course, started the game and back on now for his second stint. And Tippins will kick from dummy half, and it is a good kick, and that's a perfect set after points. It's going to roll dead in the end, but they'll be happy with that one. Glenora got down the other end of the field, got through it error-free, and Point Chevalier now will walk the ball back out to the 20 to get things back underway.
Yeah, it was a smart play, steady the ship. And the restart here for the Pirates, plenty of footy to go here though, over half an hour. Hope you're enjoying this action. It's a ding-dong battle between 2 classy outfits. Expect some of the big names to start stepping up a bit, lifting the tempo, looking to drag teammates along with them by building momentum. On the far side of the field, Chaz Brown is effective in defence alongside Lua Falialo. There's Tevita Latu. What's he thinking? KG old timer. I say that respectfully. Mike Key to his feet now, 30 metres from the try line. Tevita Latu picks up, make that 10 metres and then pushes it down the outside. That was juggled and then retrieved by the Bears on the far side of the field, 10 metres from their line.
Yeah, good call from the on-field officials there to say play on. Somehow Lakini Gavitt managed to get the boot to the ball, and that finished with a kick. Nami Luaki appealing, but it was the correct call from the officials now as Lua Falialo looks to work it out. That was a really good set from Point Chevalier. Get down that end of the field, and some good carries there. Tevita Latu looking likely out of dummy half as well.
Lahami Luaki back in there. Here they are, the 2 big units. This time it's Kavaliku, a popular figure in recent years. Swape stints at Otahu and Mount Albert. Is that a 40-20? I think it is. So the high fives are on.
Yeah, that's great vision there from Jordan Tore. He spotted that the winger on that side was up, and Otanuku just about got there, but the ball beats him in the end. It was Solomona that was caught up in the line a little bit there. So heads up play there from Jordan Tore. Himself coming back from a long layoff with a MCL injury. Had his first game back last week and was one of their standouts, and it's a classy touch there from the number 6.
So the Bears, well positioned here. Very well positioned, in fact, as Tolson Caird looks to profit from the meter finder. And again, technique in question. And perhaps Tavita just needs to check himself here. Doesn't want to be responsible for giving away another penalty or doing time in the bin. Swap it. A little slow this time around to get to his feet. Tippins pushes it quickly out wide to the try scorer, Bernard. He's manhandled to ground by Key and Latu. Short side, Kingy changes the point of attack into Tuarai. Jordan will play the ball right in front of the posts, just 3 meters out from the try line. 6-4 the scoreline. Kingy, Ralu Buchanan, and up quickly on him to make the tackles for him 1-1.
Brilliant read. Gary Foimono was looking likely down the left edge there, but he was up quickly. Foimono just in time to close that one down. Just looking earlier, Tolson Caird, that's the 3rd penalty he has managed to get for his side, and it almost looks like every time Caird carries the ball, Point Chevalier sort of fire up and maybe just get a little distracted, end up trying to smash him and give away the penalty. And you can see here, Foimono just up, and really, he met Ralu Buchanan at the same time he caught it. Great work from the veteran centre.
So it's the Pirates who'll have the feed, but they'll have to be very careful with the way they utilise the ball here in this set. Sideline with you, why?
Yeah, the Glenora Bears will try and keep the Point Pirates camped down this end as much as they could. They were looking for that 40-20 earlier on in that set where the ball went dead. You could see Tippins kick it out of dummy half just behind the 40 line. That time they ended up getting away with the second set of 6. So they know how valuable this wind is behind them, and it's just starting to turn a little bit as well, that wind.
Well, Michael Key, and look at the effort that the blue and whites are putting in right now. They know that they need to ram home the advantage a long way out, but still, they want to let this Pirates outfit know that they really mean business. If they didn't know by now, they're certainly finding out here in the semi-final. To the back they go. Here's the punched kick. That will go over the head of James Taumata, and he'll turn to recover. Midway 20 and 30, he'll take it back to the 30-metre line and content to take the tackle there as Tuarai slides into dummy half.
Even an owner actually did really well to get a decent kick away at the end of that, because they were trapped inside their 30, but in the end found grass, got it in behind Lua Falialo, and sort of gives Point Chevalier a chance to get out of their own end here if they can come up with a good defensive set.
There's To'oalo with a nice carry to claim 15 metres. 5 short of halfway. In fact, it's 5 short of the 40 now. Is a decent carry from Suape, and another penalty. It's getting a little bit loose out there at the moment for the Pirates. I think Chevalier Makawi might go in for a bit of a chat. Simon Taylor addresses Phil Kingy. Might be tempted for 2. Is that what we're talking about here? Certainly in a small field and with the wind at your back, it would seem a pretty decent opportunity. But still, that would only make it 8-4. As we see the 14, the try scorer Bernard. In there, 7 minutes after the half-time break, it was Chase who surged across the line. It's Daniel Ralu Buchanan. But remember, this is a team that's used to scoring 30-odd points in a game. And at the moment, they are being kept well in check. The ball is there. They just scoops it up. It's all on. Go, Francis, go. There's a runner there. The ball is poor. Oh, my goodness. There's a bit of a scrap on in the background. I'm I'm sure that emotions are running high. I thought the try was on for sure. But not so. Palima Siaki. He's wild about something in there. Corey, let's have a look. So here's Ledger, scoops it. Solomon is there.
Well, no wonder Siaki's wild. That is a dirty, dirty shot there from Dylan Taveta, who comes in and appears to catch him with the forearm there. Now, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that may not have been deliberate, but certainly see why Siaki is so fired up there. He was defenseless on the ground, and we're going to have a fair old talking to here. But credit to Simon Law-Falialo for his chase down there. That was a brilliant effort from him, and Glenora to get back and close things down. So you won't be picking up the referee's audio, but we wait to see the result out of this one.
Might get a chance to have another look at it. It's just 7, a late shot. That's fair enough. Francis Ledger, I thought, was away, but to Siaki's credit, was able to interrupt that play in the ball. You can just hear the referee in the background. So let's have another look. Here's Francis Ledger, scoops on the ball, one-hand pickup. Everything's looking okay at this stage. And away he goes. Louis Falialo chases him down, gets him. Solomona, that's eluded. So
he's got the penalty for that shot. We don't need any of that crap into our game now, okay? We need to keep cool. I've told them the same thing. We need to keep our cool, stick to the rugby league, okay? Cool. Here's your chance to have a chat to them now. Both sides, though? Yeah, both sides. I've already had a chat to them, okay? You have a chat to your team now, and then we'll get going.
Now, I think Dylan Taveta has been pinned here.
Is that the call? It might have been a bit of a brain explosion. I don't. Let's have a listen to the referee, Simon Taylor.
Let's go, guys.
It seemed to have marred what has been quite a quality game this one. I agree with Corey. I don't know if that was intentional. I think it was a little bit reckless. I'm not sure if it was warranted 10 minutes, but look, the Pirates are going to have to fight their way out of this one. The Glenora Bears are definitely on the front foot at the moment.
Yeah, well, it's a very big decision in the context of the game to give him 10 minutes. He did have the ball. There was a chance to stand up, wasn't he?
I guess to look at this from referee Taylor's point of view, of course, it has threatened to spill over a number of times in this match, so he's obviously seen that as the point, but he's not going to take any more. He's going to make a statement and let everyone know that it won't be tolerated. So Dylan Taveta in the bin for 10 minutes now as Kavaluku goes forward. What can Glenora do with this numerical advantage now?
Well, you'd have to think that it will be a significant advantage, and the Pirates will be under huge, huge pressure. And it's not coming later, it's coming right now, and another penalty for holding down. I'm not quite sure what the penalty count is right now, but we might be able to check that. But the Pirates are on the wrong end of it as Daniel Ravu Buchanan takes it to within 5 metres. There's another one down as well at the moment for the Pirates. And that could be a rib or an arm. And whoever it is writhing in pain, shoulder.
Tevan Orona it is on the ground, and he grabbed straight sort of for the elbow area, which could indicate a shoulder. This tends to be where they grab.
Let's go to Dr. Wise down there. Dr. Y?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a shoulder or whether it might be his forearm. He got caught really poorly in that tackle. Actually, I think he made contact with one of his other players, but yeah, he is grasping for that. Maybe he has popped that shoulder out.
Well, it's pretty tough. How did you read the decision by Taylor to use the bin this time around, Wairangi?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I agree with Corey. There has been a little bit of niggle in this game. I suppose it's a way of trying to settle these players down as much as possible. I don't know if it was warranted 10 minutes. It's sort of, yeah, it's just marred what I think has been a high-quality game. Maybe I'm not too sure if they still use a report system for the domestic game, but it definitely could have been looked at maybe for next week. Look, you get these decisions as a team and as a rugby league player. You get these decisions, and every now and again you have to battle it out of a hole, and that's what the Pontefract Pirates have to do at the moment, especially if they're going to be missing their standoff.
Yeah, well, there's a chance that the 6 will be out as well, Stephen and Dylan. And Francis Ledger might just have to step back in the standoff, as you were mentioning. You've seen him there before as well. Corey Ross are with us today. Corey is the digital manager for Auckland Rugby League, effectively helping with their comms strategy, their weekly live casting of the action from the Fox, live streaming, of course. And big ups to him and also to Troy Hardy, have overseen that aspect of Auckland Rugby League's work in 2018. We too would like to acknowledge Kahawai Productions and the return to the fold and bringing local rugby league to your screens across Aotearoa around the world. As we see the Bears now, they'll have a numerical advantage, as mentioned by Corey, but can they utilise it at the moment? 13 plays 12, the Bears, Siaki, Lauaki. That's Tippins, Cavalico, Tuareg. That might even have been deemed to be high too. Tuitama making the tackle here, Matty. Here's the quick play, the ball. They've got the numbers out here. Can Raleigh Buchanan get there, or the Pirates bundle him into touch? Neither, but there is a turnover. The Pirates do well to hold out the Bears on that occasion.
Yeah, great read from Malo Solomona that time, jamming in and closing it down. And the Reds' defence has been brilliant today. Point Chevalier do well to close that down. So important now they complete some sets, just try and chew off that clock. And as Teven Arona left the field, that's probably the last we'll see of him today. Paki Afu onto the field. So you would think Afu probably gone into the middle of the park. A little change in the centres there with Francis Ledger, the likely man to have gone to the halves.
6-4 the scoreline, just the conversion by Phil Kingy after the try scored virtually in front of the post by Ches Bernard 7 minutes into the second half. By our reading, 17 minutes gone in the second half, 1 down on numbers. The Pirates, that is an inspirational run as well. That's Pallavi. Just across into the Bears half as Ledger playing that standoff, gets a kick away, and the bounce slightly awkward, but then Polima Siaki with what I thought might have been an opportunity on the far side. The door shuts on him though, and he will play the ball and then feed it on. Chaz Brown, who carts it forward, talks and cared again. Centre field, the big middle to play the ball a couple short of halfway. And now it's Cavalico trying to free his arms here. The tackle across the top from 41 is effective. And Cavalico takes his way, or heads straight to the sideline. He's hauling at the moment, the big number 8. And he has been replaced immediately. Nice ball on the far side. This time it's Brown, Chaz Brown. Falialo and can't control. Pirates have it. Well, they're doing well at the moment. The Point Chevalier Pirates. Malo Solomona with the try halfway through that first stanza. Now the Pirates, 15 short of halfway. It's an intriguing battle we are witnessing here today.
Chevalier responding really well to that man in the sin bin. They're doing everything right so far. They need a good kick here as Makawi kicks from the bottom of the ruck. He finds Siaki on the full, but the chase is pretty good from the Pirates.
Polima Siaki has had free rein, and now he turns to straighten his attack. So he ran 50 metres but gained about 7 as he was heading sideways. As mentioned, an intriguing battle is unfolding here as these two proud clubs go head to head and battle it out for a chance to go straight through to the grand final. The one that comes up short today will get a second bite at the cherry though, and will front against the Howick Hornets, who were victors 22-17 in their battle today with the Northcote Tigers. Effectively 3rd and 4th in the Fox Championship. 25 metres out from the line now. The Bears with the ball, and it's Tippins who goes to the right-hand side. Kingy and Loaki. Big apple of Hami Loaki. Gets the ball out the back. It's Chaz Brown. Open door on the far side, and it will be no mistake for Simon Luafalialo. Eventually, numbers ruled, and the Pirates found short with a player in the bin.
They've done so well to hold on Point Chevalier. A couple of really brave defensive stands, but they were helpless to stop this one in the end. Some classy touches here from both Hami Loaki and Chaz Brown. See on screen there the Glenora faithful enjoying that one. It starts with this second phase, and then just quick hands from Chaz Brown. He identified the fact that his winger was in a little bit of space. Still had a fair bit of work to do, though, did Luafalialo. In the end, steps back inside and flies over for a try. You mentioned earlier, Dale, who's come across from the Maris Saints this year. Genuine speed does Luafalialo, and earned Auckland honours in the middle of the year as well, up against the Tonga New Zealand residents. Scored a try in that one. He's been a valuable addition to this Glenora backline.
And a good finish from him, set up by Loaki, who was able to pop that ball sideline with you, Wyatt, for your thoughts on that try.
A hell of a defensive effort from the Point Chev Pirates. Almost managed really to nullify that man in the bin, but it was very, very clever play from the Glenora Bears. They worked both edges really well in both the attacking set of sixes that they had on the Point Chev line, and in the end they just cracked down that right side. So you know, who else would you go to other than big Hami Luaki when you've got 12 men in the defensive line?
Phil Kingy. Well, I tell you what, that was a top draw effort too off the kicking tee. Let's have another look. So Loaki holds the ball, frees his hand, pops it out the back. He's got a few things going on, Big Hami, and it's not all brawn.
Yeah, good point, Dale. He has, I guess, made a name for himself in this game for some of his more confrontational acts, but that time just real skill to be able to flick the ball out the back there, get enough power on it to find the intended recipient. That's great stuff from Hami Luaki. Look, it's not the end of the world yet for Point Chevalier. This is a manageable scoreline if they can keep it here. Dylan Tavita should be back on the field in just a few minutes' time. We'll be back to 13 on 13.
8-point ball game, 12-4. This young man has been very brave in his attitude. Shane Hannum, lots to like about his attitude to his footy. A number of these players benefiting from their exposure to the coaching style of Bernie Perenara. Hugely experienced. And he will be mindful that, you know, if you bring a guy, if you think he's up to it, then you have to remind them of the reasons you put him in. Here is a rampaging Loaki, and that's as good as you see from big men on the boil. Epelahami Loaki crashes across the line in the corner.
Well, what a sight that was. Hami Luaki into open space. Look at him running like a 20-year-old again. At this point here, the poor old fullback, Siwa Tanuku. It is an enviable task trying to take Hami Luaki down there, and in the end, he was a mere speed bump. And Hami Luaki, is that the try that gets Glenora through to their second consecutive grand final? What a run down that right edge. See there, Point Chevalier. Crisis talks now for them. Not a lot they could do about it, though. 13 on 12. There's always going to be gaps on the edges there, and it was well executed in the end by the Glenora Bears.
Well, credit where credit's due, Wairangi. He looked fearsome, and his run was colossal. Your thoughts here, please.
Yeah, Kairi Nunuatu. He was kept relatively quiet in the first half, Hami Luaki, but he's really come into his own in the second half. That twice now with the, I suppose, with the advantage of having somebody in the bin, they've gone down that edge. And I know that Corey said that their attacking structure has probably been a little bit more deadly on the left-hand side, but that right-hand side of Hami Luaki down there, like he said, he's just such an imposing figure. And you know, when you've got a big man like that who can run in the way he does, and he's got skills, the skills that he has, you know, it's invaluable for the Glenora Bears. And yeah, they're streaming ahead at the moment. The point share Pirates will do well here to try and contain them.
And Kingy, I tell you, king of the kicking tee today, Phil.
Brilliant off the boot once again. Phil Kingy drains that one from the sideline and stretches things out a little bit further as we see another replay here now, and some real skill in this one. The little show from Hamiloaki which creates the gap, and then from there Power gets him home.
There he is, Hamiloaki, an imposing figure and physique, but he was rolling back the years. You quite rightly said he was running like a 20-year-old. Well, he enjoyed it like a kid who scored his first try, and you know, it's great to see. It's that sort of attitude is really inspiring to his mates around him, but I guess some nervousness again here, displaying those traits that were so evident in the grand final of 2017. So a bit to unroll here, but at the moment looking like they're going to back-to-back grand finals. What an effort from the Westies. We're revving up the Holdens in Glen Eden today. Here we go, another opportunity, and Tuanai couldn't quite get the ball back on the inside. I'm pretty sure it was Polima who was there. 10 minutes as well to Nuku. Well, that could put paid to comebacks as well. Perhaps they're either down to 11, or has the other player come back on? Why?
Yeah, we've Dylan DeVito's come back onto the park as well, so he's only just come back on, and now they've got Nuku in the bin. Pretty tight penalty, that one. But yeah, look, the Glenora Bears, they deserve that penalty after the effort through the middle. There was fantastic offload from the boys, and they know they've probably got their foot in the throat right now.
Well, Tuanai's got a career as a referee in store there. He had made the decision before Simon Taylor, and now just looking to extend the buffer. This has been a good showing here in the second half. Of course, Malo Solomon has scored halfway through that first half for a 4-0 lead, a surprising 4-0 lead as well. Now, bearing in mind the amount of points that Glenora have piled on teams through 2018. Kingy has been quite brilliant off the kicking tee. That pushes it out to 22-4 at the moment for the lead. Lua Falealo in the 60th minute, Bernard 47 for 6-4, and then Lauaki with that amazing effort. And now that penalty pushes it out to 20 points to 4, and now they're starting to look like the team that have dominated all but this Point Chev squad this season. It was Point Chev who beat them in the first round, but they've been faultless on the scoreboard at least ever since then. So big ups to Bernie Piranara. All the connections out there. You see Graham there as well, and a few of the old stalwarts from the Bears. Lair, Hannum. The scary thing, some of the players that we expect to have, you know, big influences, the number 9, for instance, Zach Tippins, he's been distributing well today. But we've seen him do a lot more at times in games, Corey, and the nervousness that whoever faces them in the final is that he could unleash, you know, just another array of attacking options as we see the Bears starting to flow now.
Yep, that's just pure class there. Brilliant stuff. They break down the left-hand side, and it's Jordan Torde who finishes it off, and he deserves a try today. He's been a fine contributor for this Glenora Bears side. They're running another one and really starting to flex their muscle now. Important to note, of course, they are playing against 12 men, so we do need to keep it in context. Some of these breaks, they look like they're coming pretty easily, but they do have that numbers advantage. But take nothing away from the Bears. That was nice work here, and it all starts with Torde, plays Arlo into a gap, and then just looms in support beautifully. His support play is a real feature of his game, and Arlo does well to have the presence of mind to look inside and find him.
Strong showing here from the Bears. There is your try scorer. And now the scoreline is starting to push out to what has been expected of them through the year. Point Chev supporters peeling away from the stands, understandably frustrated. So at least they know that there's still a chance, but gee, they're going to be hard to beat in the final the way they're playing today, this mob from West Auckland. Easiest one of the day for Phil Kingy, that is. And a good scoreline of 26-4. Sideline with you, White.
Yeah, in the context of the game, the sin binning of Dylan Tavita was a huge turning point for the Glenora Bears. The Point Chev Pirates had a valiant effort throughout that 10-minute period to try and defend. But of course, I did think that after a while, how much gas were they going to have left towards the back end of this game? And it's obvious to see, even with 12 men, that they're really struggling now. And it was a great pass out to the centre here of Glenora. We're talking about Sophia to take that ball. But we look like, from where I was standing, that ball came right up me. It's probably just short of the 10, but the touchy was a little bit further away, sort of differently. So it looks like the Point Chev Pirates might get the ball back. Yeah, I think that the dice must have turned in their favour that time around. I'm with you. I thought it was just shy of the 10. Well, not an opportunity for the Pirates to get hold of the ball. Here comes Loaki sauntering over. So I've done my work for the day, really, guys. I'm looking forward for a feed. Maybe that might be unkind. You could have quite a posh accent now from all this travels overseas. Yeah, I'm looking for something to eat. It might be refined and lovely. Geez, an imposing figure, though. Ipulahami Loaki. I cringe, and I'm up here in the commentary position when he gets hold of the ball in that rampaging style. Here are the Pirates. They get something back and mend a bit of their bruised egos and reputations.
Yeah, and a big 10 minutes for them, or 8 minutes I should say, building towards next week as Pallavi takes it forward, and that'll get called back. So safe to say now that it will be Point Chevalier up against Howick for the second spot in the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership Grand Final. And I think at the end of it all, Point Chevalier, well, they'll take plenty of positives out of that first half. They were the better team for much of that first period, and things obviously started to unravel a little bit in this second half. It's important they finish on a high, Dale, and start to build towards next week.
And if you were a Howick supporter, you'll be watching that and thinking, hey, we're a decent chance. We're a decent chance to make the final. Howick are a good team too, and I'll tell you what's going to be a neat battle is Tony Tuia up against Danny Pallavi next week. And others, of course, but I think you've got big Pakiafu, and you know how he can taunt and goad. It's part of his, just part of his style. But he does it all with a smile on his face as well, and that's what makes him quite an endearing character in our local footy scene.
That's right, one of those guys that I guess you'd hate to come up against on the footy field, but you'd love to have a beer with him. A real genuine good guy, and like so many of these guys, of course, warriors on the field, but so many of them family men off the field, and very, very nice guys to have a chat to as we see Tore get to his kick there. And this looks like a good one that's going to have just a little bit too much on it. Solomona goes back to collect it there, but you mentioned Howick and the confidence they will take into it. Well, they come off a victory over Point Chevalier just 7 days ago, so they will play the Pirates for the second time in as many weeks. And even earlier in the year, they lost by 3 points. It was a controversial loss for the Howick Hornets there, so I don't think coming up against Point Chevalier will hold too much fear for Coach Sean Clark's side.
Well, you might have heard some applause in the background. It wasn't for Warangi Kopu for keeping his shirt on. It was actually for Ipulahami Loaki, who has been given his opportunity to take a breather. What a magnificent contribution once again from him. Why?
Yeah, magnificent. And it's going to be a heck of a battle come the grand final, whether the Pirates are there or whether the Hornets are there. With Hamuruaki, I'm sure, wanting to try and play as many minutes as he can. I remember back to the grand final of last year, and the Pirates, although they were valiant in that grand final, they were definitely the they weren't the best team on the park by a long way, but they were robbed of a couple of big bodies in that game. Patrick Sipley, Michael Key, who's out there playing again today. So it'll be interesting to see over the next 2 weeks what happens.
Yeah, and you might have to fight some fire with fire too. So I'm not quite sure what the instructions will be, but you know, if either the Pirates or the Hornets get in there, somebody has to tame Eplaha Milwaukee, don't they? And you can't have him just doing what he does to teams in the way that he does it without someone standing up to him. I don't know who that's going to be though, Corey.
Yeah, of course, that's a job I certainly wouldn't want, but you're right, and you have to make a statement early against Hamiluaki. You can't let him intimidate the edge, and because off the back of it, I think Glenora sort of grow, and everyone else kind of steps it up a notch, and you've got the likes of Suape Kavaliku, who probably makes Hamiluaki actually look small in comparison, but they have got size everywhere, and it is relentless. So you're right, a statement has to be made early on, and whoever does get through the decider, they'll have a big job on their hands there. It's going to be a repeat of last year's final elimination final as well. Point Chevalier up against Howick in that one, and Point Chevalier, they won it in the final few minutes on that occasion. But I dare say all expectations are that it'll be a very similar game again. Expect it to be very close, and there won't be too many more than 6 or 8 points in that one. Whichever way it does go is to Katalita now. He's had limited minutes today. He comes onto the field and probably wishes he could have that one again. Puts the ball down. It's going to be a knock-on scrum to pack down just over halfway.
And only a few moments to go. Well, it was 4-0 at half-time, but it's been all the Bears in the second half. And credit to them. Credit to Bernard Petanata as well, the coach. He's got a canny way with bringing out the best in young footballers and not so young footballers, but nice balance across the park for him. And that was well on show here this afternoon. The Glenora Bears, the form team of this year, and quite rightly assuming their spot in the decider in a fortnight's time. We'll be bringing you action next week of that Howick and Point Chevalier game once again through the Auckland Rugby League and Māori television websites. We'll also have action from the Sharman Cup as well next week. And indeed on grand final day, which will be a wonderful day as it always is. It's great to have had you join in and take interest in today's outing. In the end, just too strong in the second 40. And the loss of a couple of players to the bin. I'm not sure that had that not have occurred, the Bears wouldn't have got up. I wouldn't say that because they've been such a class act all year. But there will be some who will think that the Pirates denied an opportunity as a result of that decision. And Dylan Tavita, although it goes against his character, really, I guess will be just feeling a little bit anxious about his role in this squad's demise this afternoon. But like we say, they get a second opportunity next week, and that's going to be a bumper game as well. The Hornets and the Pirates doing battle next week. You can't wait for that one either, Corey.
Yeah, and I think at front and centre of the worries for Grant Polkington will be the health of Tevan Arona, because the job gets that much harder if Tevan Arona is out. He left the field midway through this half, clutching at either an elbow or a shoulder. Then it looked like possibly a shoulder, so we'll wait for updates on his health, but that's a big one for Point Chevalier.
Might have been a shelbo.
Dr. Korpu on the money once again.
The old Shelbo routine, yeah. Here we go with the Pirates. Trying to get one back to a bit more respectability to the scoreline. It's 26-4 right now, and Huda not far off going. It's still been an entertaining game, lots of fun to call, and hope you've enjoyed seeing these athletes do battle. Certainly that first half was as tight and tough as you'd expect it to be in a semi-final. But in the end, too much strike power, really. The boys in blue from the west have come to town saying we have no intention of taking that Fox Memorial prize off our mantelpiece. And there is the try there to the Pirates. Not accompanied by much fanfare. It won't change the outcome of the game. But hats off to the try scorer out wide.
Yeah, look, Kenny Gavitt there going over for his 13th try of the year. That takes him up to Point Chevalier's top try scorer. Scores out on that left edge there, and as you mentioned, means nothing in the end. Well beaten today, Point Chevalier. Something to, I guess, hang their hat on late in the piece. There was a nice line actually from Gavitt, who only just got the ball down in time as the siren goes in the background. So Tavita will attempt the conversion. And really it is just to make the scoreline look a little more respectable. But what about the Glenora Bears? We're very happy with their day's work today. Comfortable winners in the end. They've now got the Root Rooster, the Rukatai Shield Minor Premiership, and they're 80 minutes away from a second straight SAS Fox Memorial Premiership crown.
Dylan Tavita just looking to add the extras to the Lakini Gave try.
Gosh.
Hits it. The flags are up. They're into double points at least. Here at Mount Smart Stadium #2 and the major semi-final. The winner straight through to the grand final for 2018. And it's the Glenora Bears 26 and the Point Chevalier Pirates 10. Well, a comprehensive effort there by the squad from West Auckland in that second half. But they can hold their heads high, the Pirates. They know they've got plenty of work to do. They'll come up against a hot Howick team next week. It's going to be a ding-dong battle, and I hope you're able to check it out as well on both websites. I'll be carrying them both at once, multi-television, of course, and Auckland Rugby League's live streaming opportunities. We'll get some thoughts too from Wairangi Kōpū coming up in a moment. But some standout performances from the Glenora Bears today. Philip Kingy was exceptional, wasn't he, of the kicking 10. His distribution was exceptional. Zach Tippins again, happy to be the major distributor. I thought Palima Siaki acquitted himself well from the back as well, but Epilahami Lauaki, he was the wrecking ball. He was expected to have a major influence, and Julie did.
Yep, just set that tone early, Hami Lauaki, and off the back of it, everything sort of flowed into place. Remember, it was so tight through the first half as we see the Point Chevalier try there, which gave them the halftime lead. Malo Solomona scoring that one, but it was a rare moment to smile on this one for Point Chevalier. Early in the second half, the Bears got back into it. It started with Chase Bernard, who just went up and over the top to open the scoring. And, from there, Glenora really started to get hold of the contest. Hami Luaki set up the second one with a beautiful offload there. Lua Falialo, the man to finish it in the corner. It was around this point of the game where Dylan Tavita was sin-binned, and really Glenora started to pile on their points, though.
But it was Loaki who really was the man who did the damage. The flick ball for the Lua Falialo try, and have a look at this one. He just got a spring in his step, and poor old Siua Utanuku didn't know where to look. And Loaki just rolls across the top of him. That's terrific imagery, isn't it? Congratulations to the Glenora Bears. This too was a fine try as well. It's creating space back on the inside for Jordan Tuare. Phil Kingy, exceptional off the kicking tee. And another penalty to get us our final scoreline of 26 for the Bears. A late try to Lakini, which was converted as well for the 26-10 scoreline. This is that try right on the death. And the big number 12 is through to score Lakini Gave. But hats off to the Glenora Bears. They're through to the final with an exceptional performance here in the semi-final. Let's go down and pick up some thoughts from representatives of both teams with Wairangi Kōpū. He's in the middle of the field. G'day, Wai.
Phil, mate, you're once again through to the grand final. You got a week off, but the Point Chevalier Pirates made you battle for it.
Yeah, I knew it would be a tough battle. We struggled to meet the energy in the first half, but luckily we came away with the goods.
Your middle stood up once again, but it was really in the second half where Hame and those boys on the edge took over.
Yeah, he's an old head and he's experienced. He might not be as quick as he used to be, but he definitely adds a lot of value for our team.
How good is it to have the week off, mate?
Yeah, it's obviously the most desirable track to take, but nonetheless, whoever gets to that final is going to be tough no matter what.
You put 20 points on them, but what can you see as improvements going into the grand final?
I suppose our energy. Both teams are focusing on what we do well, so I think we lack the energy and lacked matching that energy in the first half.
Good luck, mate. Enjoy the week off.
Thanks, fella.
Well, there's Phil Kingy. He had a good hand, and he wasn't too bubbly, was he, with the victory? Just thought, okay, we'll take that in our stride. There's still work to be done. Here are the try scorers. Kingy was great with his conversions and a penalty. And, of course, Solomona Gave, the tries and the conversions by Arona as well. Let's go down and hear from the Pirates. I'll get another bite at the cherry, but for now beaten by a better team this afternoon. Waitangi.
Siueli, well, you guys played really tough throughout that first half, and I thought you guys you probably won that first half battle, especially being 4 points ahead. They were a little bit too strong towards the end there.
Yeah, like we always say, it's a game of two halves. We ran away with it in the first half, but 40 minutes is a long time, and we knew Glenora was going to come back, and they're just a tough side that stay in the grind and take teams into the trenches and try to keep them there. And obviously they pulled it off today.
Some positive signs out there for you boys, though, especially through the middle.
Oh yeah, definitely. We just know that didn't help with two of the boys getting sent to the bin, but no excuses. All credit to Glenora. They stood up today and took advantage of that, and we'll bounce back next week. We'll regroup and get back to the training paddock on Tuesday.
As a group, I suppose discipline probably be the major thing you work on this week.
Yeah.
Talking point, sorry.
Yeah, there'll be a talk. No, discipline hasn't been too bad this year, but just a few lapses here and there. Can really cost teams, especially against a team against like Glenora and the Mount Alberts and Howick and that. So next week we've got to be critical and know everything we do, and hopefully pull through next week.
You come up against the Howick Hornets, who you played only 2 weeks ago. It's probably a good stage to come up against that side in the qualifying semi-final.
Yeah, Howick's a tough team, led by Jeffrey and Tony. They're a physical side, so again, like today, we've got to step up another notch for next week, and there's no second life next week, so we've got to come out firing next week, and hopefully we get up.
Good luck in your preparations, brother.
Cheers, bro. Thanks, man. Cheers, bro.
Thanks very much, Waitangi and Siueli. Just reviewing the game today. The better team won. A very strong team, the defending premiers, the Glenora Bears. They were too good for the Pirates today. 26-10 victors. The Pirates now looking for the repechage and an opportunity to the grand final through the Howick Hornets. We'll be bringing you that action next week, plus action from the Sharman Cup as well. Thanks so much, Corey. I've enjoyed calling with you today, mate. It's been good fun, and I'm looking forward to doing the same again next week.
Absolutely, a brilliant day of footy here too. Really good games, and as you mentioned, looking forward to doing it all again in 7 days' time.
Thanks very much from me, Dale Husband, Waitangi Korpu, and Corey Ross. All the very best to you. Thanks for your support of the local league via the Auckland Rugby League live stream website and through MāoriTelevision.com. From all of us here from Kahawai Productions, who brought you the action from Mount Smart number 2, or Te Pā, o Rarotonga. Until next time, hei konei rau.